My guest today is Big Black, a master drummer who has innovated his own approach to the hand drums, including a technique where he uses his fingers in isolation rather than striking the drum with his entire hand. And this has allowed him to play parts that couldn't be played using conventional techniques. He got his professional start in the Calypso scene of the 1950s, including with Lord Flea, and he went on to revolutionize hand drumming in jazz, doing stints in groups led by artists like Randy Weston, Dizzy Gillespie, and Freddie Hubbard. And I'm hoping to get some time today to talk to you about the people you've played with, but obviously this interview is mainly going to be about you and your musical philosophy. Big Black has also served as a mentor to some of the greatest hand drummers to emerge since he broke onto the scene. And I'm thinking specifically here about Mtume, about Adam Rudolph as I say this. And at 85 years old, he continues to play drums, continues to share his music with others, and to engage in a variety of creative pursuits, not just musical. So Big Black, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and making yourself available to tell your stories.
Thank you, man. I enjoy stories.
So do we.
I'm a storyteller. And I mean, I've been with people that gave me stories to tell.
Right? No, that's...
Crazy artists. I call them all insane. They're all insane. All of them, including me. We're all insane. The artists that I have known over the years. And the things they did has proven it to me that I'm not excluding myself, we are all out of our minds. And I've come to the conclusion that you got to be somewhat out of your mind to be really creative.
To break the mold, right?
Yes, you got to go deep inside and find it, yes.
Because otherwise you'll be just coming up with the same things that you've been seeing other people doing.
That's right. And everybody's looking to be original. And that is one of the beauties of being an artist. You want to be original, and you're driven by this force, this inner force to be original, not to copy. You know what I'm saying? That's like I was telling you about Mtume. You know what I'm saying? Mtume copied my style to such a degree that when I heard it, I thought it was me. You know? And I never taught that, but that's what he wanted. You know, because I always teach, when I'm teaching, I always teach a person to develop his own inner thing, whatever that is, you know. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you, you know, because when we talk about creativity, I mean, and I sort of said this a little bit during the introduction, but you really developed a whole new language for this instrument that has existed for so many thousands of years.
Well, not thousands, but a few years.
Well,
maybe it did exist before me for thousands of years. I don't know. Maybe you were correct in saying that. But then I rediscovered it, you might say.
There you go,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
So it had a new, that's what I'm trying to say, it had a new birth through you, right?
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, because everything we do has been done. I'm a firm believer in that. Yeah. You know, we are endowed with whatever it is about us in advance from the Creator. You know what I'm saying? Like people are on their knees praying, thinking that the Creator's going to send something down to them. Never happened. Once you're created, that's the end of you and the Creator. It's all about the creation.
Wow.
We are the creation. You understand what I'm saying? And whatever we create was given to us in advance. So we're good to go from birth till death.
That's amazing.
We're good to go.
Wow.
Whatever we come up with becomes uniquely ours. Yes.
Yeah. Man, that's extremely deep.
That's
I'm going to be
the truth.
thinking about that one for a while.
That is the truth, my brother.
So I want to start from the beginning. I understand you were born in Georgia. You grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Beaufort.
Excuse me. And I think that's a Gullah area.
That is the Gullah area.
So, tell me a little bit about your childhood in that part of the country.
My childhood in that part of the country was hanging out in the woods. That was my favorite pastime. I'd go out into the woods. I was always a loner. I'd go out in the woods. I had a special tree, hickory tree, and where the sun shine right down, because especially in the wintertime, when it gets chilly like it is today, you know, you sit there and the sun shine, and I would sit perfectly still, and birds would come and light on my leg. So help me, man. Wow. I used to watch they had flying, you ever seen a flying squirrel?
I've heard of them, yeah.
They had flying squirrels. I used to sit there and look up and see a squirrel running up the tree, and then all of a sudden something like a bat leaps out of the tree. It's a squirrel, man. He's just, you know, just sail right over to the next tree and clamp on and run down. That was my favorite pastime, hanging out with the flying squirrels and the birds. And I was always fascinated by the fact that if you sat motionless and you do it enough, the birds become familiar with you and they have no fear of you. They come right up and light on you.
Wow.
Yeah. And besides from that, I used to, when I was in school, you know, in elementary school, when I was like, I started school in 6th grade, at 6 years old, 1st grade, and then around the 2nd or 3rd, I was 8 years old, was when I started unconsciously banging on things.
Mm.
If we, you know, like if we had a reading period in school, everything is quiet, all of a sudden, I would start banging on the desk.
Yeah.
Unconsciously.
Wow.
And Miss Carter, my teacher, she would come over and says, "Daniel, shut that noise." And I would catch myself, and I'd quit because I wasn't trying to be purposely, you know, bad.
Yeah.
I just stopped, and then...
You didn't even know you were doing it.
That's right. And the next thing you know, I'm doing it all over again. It's like a hyperactive kid that just can't control himself. And Miss Carter would walk over and grab my hand like that, and hold it down, and take that, you're like, oh, wow!
Oh, no. Oh, man. But she didn't beat the music out of you, though.
No, she didn't beat the music out of me, because I went home and I would lay on my porch. You know, we lived in one of these bungalow type houses with the big porch, and when you lay on the floor and you beat on the floor with your heels like that, you get a boom boom sound, right? And then the hands, you understand, would become your sticks.
Wow.
And I remember I had my second oldest brother, my first oldest brother, Chief. He was a member of a drum and bugle corps, Mr. Simmons Drum and Bugle Corps. This was in Savannah. This was before my father passed away and my mother moved to the Carolinas, where I grew up. I was born in Georgia, but I grew up in the Carolinas, which was just across the state line. Georgia and Carolina come together. It's only a 35-minute drive from, well, in those days it used to be a 2-hour bus ride, you know, and then since they built this new bridge and built the freeways and stuff, you could drive there in 45 minutes. And I would sit on my porch and think about my brother Chief. We used to live on Gwinnett Street in Savannah, and Gwinnett, East Gwinnett. And whenever Mr. Simmons Drum and Bugle Corps would come down the street playing, it would pass right by our house. We'd sit out on the porch and watch it, and I could see my brother, and I was turned on by I was a little kid, man, you know what I'm saying? Like 4, going on 5 years old.
Wow. And how much older was your brother?
He was about 12 at the time. You know, and I was fascinated, so that stayed with me. So I would play the parade beat, you know, like a boom, 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 with the hand.
Oh, wow.
There's the bass drum.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 with the heels.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
wow.
the hands would play the stick
It's a whole parade.
Yeah, man. And
So he was a snare drummer, your brother?
No, yeah, he was a snare drummer. So, but I would be imitating the bass drum with the boom, 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 boom.
With your heels. Wow, man.
Played that over and over and over, man. And on my porch, this is like a couple of years later, when I was 8 years old, this was my thing. I'd sit on the porch, and that was my first introduction to rhythms. Playing that on my porch, lying on my back, and I would do it for hours until my mother would call me in, the sun's going down, you know, I'm still out there banging away. Then drove everybody in the house crazy with it, you know what I'm saying? So that was my first. And then, excuse me, once I get in the house, we had these battery-operated radios in those days because for the first 2 years that we lived in that house, we didn't have any electricity.
Wow.
Everything was lamps and candles for light.
This was like the early 40s.
Yeah, man. Wow. And we had a battery-operated radio, and it was difficult to get anything because it was always staticking. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then you get something. All of the local stuff coming out of Savannah would be Clear Wings Over Jordan. These big choirs, they'd come on and they'd sing, and they'd do all this gospel stuff. Everything was about the gospel.
Sure.
Church on Sundays. That was clear. We would get the news. But there was a station used to buzz in every now and then from Cuba. So help me God. And it was a program called Swing Casino. Although the guy was speaking in Spanish, you understand, certain words he would utter was in English. And I used to remember he would say something like, I love your salas estrechalolas and tune to our swing casino.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
And then I would hear probably people like Chano Pozo.
Yeah.
And all those cats that was playing back then, and the bongos, you know? And man, these things, I was totally taken over by this.
Oh, wow.
Now, my brother, I had a brother named Fish, and he became famous because he always wanted to be a bass player, but he could never afford a bass, so he made his own bass. He took a tub, and he took a stick, and with a cord running down through the middle of the tub, and he made him a bass out of it. You know,
and by moving the stick, he changed the tension in the string.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And man, I'm telling you, he turned out to be one of the greatest cats on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The last big festival I did in Miami, when I was working with Makeba, they opened the set, and the bass player Henry Franklin, who lives here in Riverside, is one of the greatest bass players today.
He is.
And I introduced Henry to my brother, and when Henry saw what my brother did with that one string, he wanted to smash his bass up. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh, man.
But he was never home when I was a little boy. He was always out there on the road hustling, trying to play music and trying to build his career.
With that one string bass?
Wow. And he was a Chano Pozo Ike, you might say. He listened to Chano, and he learned to play drums. So he was a drummer and a bass player. And he sent me, the first time I heard a real record with bongos being played on it, he sent me a single record of Nat King Cole singing Sitting by the Ocean with Jack Costanza playing bongos.
Oh, wow.
That's what Jack was saying. He's sitting by the ocean, make you feel so sad. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got no money, take you back to Trinidad. And that was it. That was the beginning of my drum lessons. I had no drums, never had a drum until I was 17 years old, when I had, by that time, gone to school, quit school, and I finished the 9th grade in school, quit school, and moved to Miami, Florida. where my brother was living by this time. He had a family and everything living there, and
you were about
I had a sister
15
living
years
there.
old or so?
I was about 15.
Wow.
When I went to Miami.
Wow.
And
knowing that you wanted to play music?
yeah,
or?
man.
Yeah?
I
Wow.
went there with that in mind.
Wow.
And I used to go to all the clubs. I used to like put on my dark shades, put me on a coat, and pull my collar up, my hat pulled way down, and I would sneak into these clubs because you had to be 21 to go into these clubs.
Right.
You understand? So my brother know they were playing at a club called the Cafe Society.
Huh.
Cafe Society. And they had a Calypso band, you dig? And Calypso Eddie was the name of the.
Okay.
And I wound up later on playing with Calypso Eddie. But by this time, I'm just learning. And I would just want to go in there and sit in the corner in the dark or sit in the dressing room and listen through the dressing room door, you understand, to these cats play. And I listen, I learn. My first introduction to music was Calypso music. And my brother made me a drum. I got a picture of that drum home somewhere, still
wow.
right now.
That's beautiful.
And he was a good craftsman as far as making things like drums, and he could fish. My brother fished. He was one of those jack of all trade type
Yeah.
cat. Anything he think of, he could put it together. So he made me a drum, and I started practicing on that drum. And one day, I got a call. No. I went to work for a Jewish cat named Artie Steinhardt on Miami Beach. I got a part-time job making $20 a week. You dig? And my job was to, help the maids that were cleaning the rooms, clean the rooms up. I had to spray the room because there were a lot of mosquitoes in Florida in those days.
Oh, sure.
And they had this stuff you had to spray the plants and all around the building.
Sure it was
And that was
poison,
my
right?
job, yeah, man. And I had to do all of that. But Artie Steinhardt also had right across the causeway from his motel a club called the Malayan Lounge, where he would bring in Hawaiian dancers.
Wow.
And they had this dancer named Johnny Pineapple. Johnny Pineapple, hey man, his claim to fame was he'd run out on the dance floor while the girls, the drums are playing, and he would leap out on the stage and leap up in the air with a pineapple and a machete.
What?
And by the time he hit the floor, he done chopped that pineapple up in several pieces. That was his claim to fame. Johnny Pineapple. He had the Kalani dancers who sang and did the hula dance. And when I first went there, they needed a drummer. They didn't have a drummer. So Johnny Pineapple taught me how to play. They had these great big Hawaiian drums, big old bass drum like that, with two small drums attached to the side of it, 3 drums. And he taught me how to play the Hawaiian rhythms on that drum for their dance.
Wow.
I learned that, and that's how I held that. That was one of my first gigs. You understand? Because all the time that I was working at the motel, I was learning how to play, and I had bought myself a set of bongos with my first week pay. And the bongos cost me my first week pay, $20.
Damn.
I'll never forget them. Wow. And they were some badly made drums because they had keys on them that if you didn't play it the right way, they would cut your hands, Anyway, I suffered through all of that, but I learned. I was learning, and I played at the Malayan Lounge, and I used to play for the Bahama Mama, a sister named Dorothy Anderson. Huh. Oh boy, was she beautiful. hey man, the men used to throw their wallets on the stage when she came out and danced. Her dance was, oh man. And I was her drummer. I used to go from the Hawaiian stuff to the Calypso stuff. And the Calypso style, you know what I'm saying? And I'd play that for them, for her, and kill her, you dig it? And she used to give me some extra money, you know, because hey man, they would, like I'm not telling you no lie, these guys were throwing their wallets on the stage when they saw her dance. And that was my beginning, man, you know.
Whoa.
So I kept doing little odd jobs here and there, you know what I'm saying, working the hotels. And in those days, Miami Beach was like South Africa. If you was black, or if you was Puerto Rican, you understand, or anything minority, you couldn't live. You could work over there, and you had to have a special health card, and you had to have a health card to prove that you are healthy, because they thought that everybody had a disease except them, the people that was running Miami Beach at the time, and you had to have a health card. And you had to have a police card, and your top salary was $35 to $40 a week. $40 was the top pay.
They capped you there.
That's right.
Wow.
$40 was your top pay, and you had to be really good at what you do to get $40 a week.
Meanwhile, you're bringing hundreds of dollars of revenue into the club.
Thousands, man.
Yeah.
So but then $5 for your police card and $6 for your health card. That came out of your pay. You understand? And that didn't last. That card was only good for about every 6 months. You got to renew it. They were robbing us, man.
Man.
Hey, man, that's what it was like on Miami Beach back in those days. And I did those odd jobs.
But without the performers, I mean, they're not going to get people into those hotels.
That's
and those
right.
bars.
That's right.
Wow.
And I wasn't performing in the hotels. I was working I work as a porter or a server.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work in the kitchen as a dishwasher.
All the same. That's what keeps the hotel running.
That's right.
Yeah.
And those were the kind of jobs that was available to kids like us. You know what I'm saying? So I worked there and I worked there until I bought my bongos. After I bought my bongos, I quit.
Nice.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I'd just stay home and practice. I would go up in the hallway of the apartments with all this echo. And when I play those bars, those echoes come back at me, and I was driving the neighbors crazy.
For sure.
So one day, the neighbors screamed out, they threatened to call the cops on me. I had to stop playing, so when I played now, I got to go lock up in the bedroom in the house and practice my bongos. So I learned to play the bongos, and then after I learned to play the bongos, my brother made me this conga drum. It's one drum about the size of this one here. It was made out of a pickle barrel, you know what I'm saying? And with a tacker on the head.
Oh, okay.
And when you wanted to tune it up, you got to get your can of sterno and heat it up, and you turn it upside down, and you heat that skin, it'll get tight, and you get a good sound out of it.
Wow.
That was my first drum. And I played that, and I played that, and I played that. And after about 2 years, I was playing good enough to start visiting a few spots where they jam at. And I knew this Cuban dude, I can't think of his name right now. He was a great piano player, and he played jazz. And he was working in the Mary Elizabeth Lounge. Mary Elizabeth was the other hotel from the Sir John Hotel that I hadn't reached yet.
Right,
so I would go down to the Mary Elizabeth hotels on weekends and jam, and I played one beat. I knew how to play one beat.
Okay.
I played that for about 4 years, man. Just that beat. But everybody loved it. because I didn't get in the way of the trap drummers.
Right.
And trap drummers hated Congo drummers and bongo drummers in those days.
Oh, because they would play
because
over.
they would play all this stuff that was not on the beat, and I learned to play off of the trap drummer's sock. That's what gave me an in.
Oh, okay, wow.
When I learned how to do that. At first, I didn't know it. And I used to wonder why these cats hate me or why they hate all the other Congo drummers that was coming out of the jam. And then I realized what it was. They were playing.
Yeah.
All I had to do was get on that.
Hang in that
Get on
pocket,
that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I learned that, I played that, and my man loved me. Whenever I walked in, he said, "Where's your drums, Black?" You know? And in those days, I wasn't Big Black, and I was called Danny, because my name is Daniel.
Right, right.
And they all call me Danny. You know, where's your drum, Danny? You know what I'm saying? And I'd have it sitting out in the hall somewhere, because I never did like to walk in on people's sets. You know what I'm saying? And I was always respectful. And I learned when you're respectful to band leaders, you gets the end. And that's what I did. I did that for about 4 years. I played that beat. They call me one beat Dan. Because that's all I knew how to play. And as time went on, man, I developed. And from listening to the piano.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying? The piano became sort of like my source of rhythm.
Yeah.
I listened to the left hand and what the right hand was doing, and the way I set my drums up today, my bass drum is under my left hand, and my treble drums, my middle and my treble drum is on the right hand.
Right.
And I play a piano style, and that's why I do it. The finger style came from my brother, who played drums finger style, had a finger style on the drums, which was his concept of playing like the piano players. And that became my total focus over the next 10, 20 to this day.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and that was it for me, man.
That's wild.
I learned to play. I started playing with Calypso Eddie. Lord Flea came to town, and my brothers, who had been playing with Calypso Eddie, he and his partner, they were both drummers. Slick played, he played these big goombay drums.
Oh, wow.
And my brother Fish played the small side drums he had on the stand. Little drums about maybe 12 inches.
Oh, okay.
12 inches, 12 and 9 inches. And together they were outrageous, the way these two cats played together. And Fish would get off of the bass, and when they go into like what they call the session, where they start jamming, and he and Slick on the drums, you know. And they would kill them, man. They had the best group, man. People would come. If they opened in a club tonight and nobody showed up, whoever showed up the next night, they were standing in line to see these cats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a picture of them in my phone. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, please.
I'll try to send it to you into your phone.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
So you can see what my school of thought was. My buddy Chico, God bless him, man. He's right now getting ready to undergo surgery. He and I are the same age, 85 years old. And they found a tumor in his stomach, the size of an orange.
Shit.
And he's about to undergo surgery right now, and I'm praying for him every day to get okay, because he's my buddy.
Yeah.
And he's been living on the Jersey Shores for the past 30, 40 years. They got a home there and been playing. He gets all the gigs. People love him. They call him Dr. Chico. Yeah, and he was a part of this group. The group consisted of Chico playing nothing but maracas in those days. He played drums now. I taught Chico how to play Congo drums. You understand what I'm saying? And now he plays timbales, and he's got his own band. He got a timbale player, he got a Congo drummer, a bass player, and a couple of guitar players and a singer.
That's Chico who?
Dr. Chico.
Dr. Chico, okay.
Yeah. He works he's been working the Jersey Shores for the past 30 years. Maybe 50 years now. Long, yeah. Yeah, man. And his daughter's a famous dancer. I think she's living in Miami now.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I'm praying for Chico because he's going to undergo surgery. And wow, where do we go from there?
Well, so I want to ask you more about your time in Miami, but before we do that, I want to get a little more, like, dig into your family history, because we got your brother Fish as a musician.
Right.
You said
I had an older brother.
Your older brother's a musician.
No, my oldest brother was a gambler.
Was a gambler. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a professional gambler. He played golf, anything that could make a buck.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? He was a good golf player. He used to caddy for a lot of the big time golfers that was making money, and he would make money like that growing up as a boy.
Huh.
This is my oldest brother. He was 20 years my senior.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, he died a few years ago. He died at 90 years old.
Wow.
And that was my oldest brother, and my next oldest brother was Fish.
Uh-huh.
And I got a third oldest brother was Chief. He was the
drummer
in the drum and bugle corps.
Then your sister's a dancer too,
and
right?
my sister Becky, she was a dancer. She died at age 90 a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I have another sister.
So were you the youngest of the family?
I'm the very youngest, number 13.
Wow, okay,
I'm the
got it.
13th child, which my lucky number is 413.
Okay, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you want to get rich, play that number. Yeah. So there was, out of 13 kids, 8 survived because the infant mortality rate was low back in the, especially for black people.
Man.
So there's 8, 7, 8 and 6. Well, 8 and what makes 13? 7. No, 8
and 5. Yeah.
So 8 survived, 5 died.
Wow,
you know what I'm saying? You know, very young.
Yeah.
I didn't even know them.
Of course, they didn't make it past a young age.
That's right.
Yeah,
and all of my sisters and brothers are gone. I'm the only one that's left now.
Oh, wow, man.
They're all gone. My older sister died. My second oldest sister. My oldest sister died but my second oldest sister, she lived to be 99 years old.
Wow.
She just died a few years ago, a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And
it's a long life.
So my oldest sister was 93. My second oldest sister was 99. And my third oldest sister was 90. And my fourth youngest sister died at 85.
Strong genes. Huh?
Yeah. And I'm now 85. I'm going to be 86 in February.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one left out of the whole family.
Yeah, but look at how active you are.
I never thought that I'd be, because my lifestyle was one of a lot of sauce.
Right.
And I'm still here, but I quit everything. I don't do any of that anymore.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, to reach old age,
as you grow older, you learn. If you don't learn and you don't adhere to your learning, you know what I'm saying, you could exit this.
Yeah.
This. But, I don't worry about it because life is forever. You understand what I'm saying? Just that you're not going to have this life.
Right.
You're not going to know these people. When you leave this will cease to exist, and who knows what the next life is going to be like.
Yeah.
No one knows. And we've lived before, but we don't know what the past life was like. And just like we don't know what the past life was like, we don't know what the next life is going to be like. We only know this life. This is, by the way, my book, The Profundity of Word, that's coming out, tells you the whole story of this that I'm telling you now, about life, the cycle of life cycle, the truth about life cycle, that which all religions are born out of. You understand? But the people that runs the religion, they turn into a money maker. And I'm talking about these dirty pimp ass preachers like dogs.
I know.
In my book, I'm talking about them. You understand? The Pope is just another preacher. They're all living off of the people, off of the blood of the people, you know, and they give up a little charity here and there, you understand, to make people be a part of what they're doing.
To wash their hands.
And they preach the gospel, you understand, to make people think that a God is going to come down and give them something. Never happened. The day you come into this world, the Creator that created you is finished with you. You are endowed with everything you're going to be in advance. As you are speaking to me now, this is part of your endowment. To speak with me. You understand? To learn from me at my age, and to take what you know and pass it on to somebody else. You understand? And it goes on and on and on until the end of your tenure, which is you return to nothing, which is the melting pot or the mixing pot of the Creator, creating your next life.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
From the day you were born till 2 or 3 years later, you become aware of your world. You understand? And that's your life. And you are preordained from birth, from the moment of inception. You understand? Everything that you're going to be is programmed into that little brain that will develop slowly as you grow. And thus, you become a person, and you be whatever you want to be. And all of this stuff about going to church and praying and all of that don't mean shit, don't mean nothing. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Don't mean
it's
nothing.
true.
You are given, what you are given is what you're going to be. If you use it right, you'll get all you need out of life. If you use it wrong, you will suffer, because there are obstacles. And the key to life is conquering these obstacles as they pop up in front of you. It's like you know, you were going through one of those game things. You step on something that might sink you, or obstacle. You gotta survive the obstacles. You understand? The obstacles are there. You see it coming. You gotta have the knowledge and know how to defeat it. Belief is uncertainty. You can't base your life on beliefs. You gotta base your life on know-how, what you know, not what you believe. Because although belief, you could, you know, something could happen, but then something couldn't happen. Belief is either way. You know, belief is it this or is it that? Negative, positive. You gotta have a positive when you know that's positive. Knowing is fact. That's why I titled my book, The Profundity of Word. Knowing is profound. You gotta know in order to get anything you want out of life that's good. You gotta know what you're going on. You can't go in there believing, because belief means you might fail.
Right, yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
So if you don't want to fail, just know.
Wow.
Don't believe, know.
Yeah.
You can believe if you can say, I believe she's lying.
Right.
Or I believe I don't trust what he's saying.
Right.
That's the way you use the word belief.
Right.
But you don't place belief on things that you profoundly want out of life. Those things got to be based on know-how.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like if you didn't know how to be a journalist or a writer or what are you, a DJ?
Something like that, yeah.
Hey, that is your know-how.
Yeah.
And you put in your know-how to work, and your know-how is what's going to bring you the most that you can get out of life. What you know how to do. I only know how to play drums. And I never got rich from playing drums, but let me tell you, man, when it comes to pleasure, I got the richness of pleasure out of playing my drums.
And you enriched a lot of other people's lives too.
And I'm 85 years old, and I still got a chance to get some monetary value out of it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who knows? Your interview might make me rich.
I hope so, man. Maybe, who knows who's going to be listening,
you know what
right?
I'm going to do? I'm going to kick you back a piece, because that's what it's all about. That's what you got to give to live, man. That's what it's about, giving. That's what my book is about. giving. If you got more than you need for 1,000 years, give it away.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you won't live to be 100.
Right, right, right.
And some people got more than they need
so
for
true.
1,000 years.
It's like
These
a disease,
billionaires,
man. It's a mental disease.
That's right, that's right. Oh, I talk about that too, man, about the virtue of giving. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes.
Yeah, because without, I mean, that's how community holds together
That's
too,
right,
right?
that's right. Man, people gotta start looking out. People realize that greed is not the answer. See, because when you look out for each other, everything is gonna work. You never have to worry, because you know that the moment you got a problem, you can look over here and there's somebody over here with an answer to your problem. And they'll reach out to you if you've been reaching out to them when they got that problem. They're obligated to reach out to you. And they will reach out to you not because of that, but for the love that has been developed between you. You understand what I'm saying? Love is the key to all of it. Love is the answer. But there's so many people that they're just greedy and hateful.
It's true.
And they'll do anything to get what they want. Those are the kind of people you avoid like a plague.
But we're stuck with them too.
That's right, you're stuck with them. And that's part of the obstacles in life that you have to undergo. You got to get past.
Yeah. Well, so I just want to ask you, and then we'll get back to talking about Miami, but what do you think it is that, I mean, the house you grew up in, so many of you and your siblings that came out of it ended up being like these deeply creative people. And then also I want to
That's
tack on
our
to
endowment.
Okay.
Our endowment. That's your endowment, man. That's what the whole endowment. If you're endowed to be a creative person, that's what you're going to be. Everyone is endowed to be creative, but some people just don't use it. Some people don't even adopt it. Even though it pops into their mind, they may have a lazy feeling about it and decide, oh no, I don't want to do that. And the very thing that they want to do could be the thing that'll take them under. You understand? You gotta know your endowment, grab a hold to it, and start developing it from the first time you become conscious of it. Like, I became conscious of drumming when I was 8 years old. And I never lost that consciousness. That's why and I'm self-taught, although I watch other people, you understand? What they play, I never wanted to play what they play. When they played something, it made me hear what I want to play, and I play what I want to play, and therefore I developed the style that I have today. And right now, my present state of rhythm is bebop, hip hop, funk. You understand? So with the bebop and the hip hop, you get double the funk, because hip hop is funk, and bebop is funk. It's one kind of funk for bebop, it's another kind of funk for hip hop. When you put them two together, you get a double funk, and I got it. And what I'm trying to do right now is to wise all the rappers up to bebop hip hop, because bebop hip hop will enhance their rap to another level.
Yeah, yeah.
See, rap is at the same level it's always been. You dig? And the whole hip hop idea was created out of the samba. What is it called? It'll come to me in a minute. There's a rhythm. There's an African name for the rhythm.
Oh.
It'll come to me in a minute. But the samba came out of this rhythm.
Right, right.
And you know the advent of the break dance.
Where did it start from? No.
That's where the whole hip hop thing came out of the break dance, and the rhythms that you played for the break dance. You know what I'm saying? Like Makumba.
Oh, okay.
Huh. All the hip hop stuff grow out of Makumba.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And now dig this. Bebop grew out of Makumba too. But it wasn't known to Dizzy and those. It was part of their environment, especially Dizzy and Monk and Max and all of those early cats, Papa Joe Jones. They created this whole bebop thing.
Yeah.
And see, the bebop is like complicated. Bebop is like, bebop, the little hip hop style in there. See?
Yeah.
So you see where bebop take you.
Wow, man.
You gotta have the chops to play bebop. Bebop is far more complicated than hip hop.
Right.
Hip hop was doom, bop, boom, bop, that's hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But bebop is. You know, that's bebop. Yeah.
Awesome.
And
man.
when Dizzy woke up that day on the bandstand and says, you know, did I tell you that story? Yeah. Yeah. Now I know what you're playing, motherfucker. You're playing bebop. I said, what? I went to cloud 9, man. That was beautiful, man. I'll never forget that night as long as I live. He was standing there just like with his horn in his hand, just like this. And I'm playing here and he was over there. And he's listening, and he's listening. And it suddenly dawned on him that I was playing what he created. You know?
It's beautiful. Man.
Yeah, man, it was beautiful. I'll never forget that night. And I was the youngest cat on the block. And Papa Joe Jones, who was the father of all of the stuff that Dizzy and all of them are playing. He was Max Roach's mentor. You understand? I was playing it with Randy Weston at a club called the Gordian Knot in New York, in Germantown. And who walks in? I saw this old man walk in with an umbrella and a newspaper under his arm. Well dressed. It was Papa Joe Jones. I didn't know him at the time. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
And he came and he sat at the bar and he ordered a cognac. I'm watching him from the bandstand.
Yeah.
And he sat there and he's sipping cognac and he's listening to us play. About 30 minutes into us playing, he got up and walked up to the bandstand and stopped the band. He had the respect of all the band leaders. He could do that. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
He could do that. So he said, I want you all to leave the bandstand. I mean, these are all top musicians.
Yeah.
Clifford Jarvis.
Oh, man.
Vishnu Wood. Ray Bryant. Ray Bryant was sitting in that night for Randy because Randy had developed, he had arthritis in his wrist. Every now and then his wrist would swell up and he would send somebody in to sit in for him, but Ray Bryant was there that night.
Even at a young age, he was dealing with that?
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, man, look at there. That's me. That's from playing.
Wow.
That big old knot. That's arthritis.
Damn.
Put a big knot right there. Wow. And it hurts, it pains. I got topical medication that I use to keep it cool. Wow. So he asked everybody to leave, and then he says, you stay. Pointed to me. Yeah, you stay. Everybody left the bandstand, and he got on the trap drums and said, play this. And man, for the next 45 minutes, me and Papa Joe Jones jammed. And when we got through, he says, I was a kid like you. You understand? Got all this old shit in his head. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
This, so help me God, man.
Man.
Because I had been listening to this stuff from a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We had a, what do we call a graphophone in those days? Those big old things with the turntable.
Yeah, the huge
Yeah,
machine,
and they get the big old records like that.
Yeah.
And we had a whole bunch of them. My sisters, they all like to dance and listen to music. And we had all of that stuff that I didn't know who these guys were playing it,
Right.
but the stuff,
It stuck.
it stayed in my brain after using it over years and years and years. And he and I became instant friends. And from that day forward, until he died, he took me under his wing
Wow.
and gave me the real bebop approach. Told me Max Roach, all the stuff that Max Roach stole from him. So here we go. And Max Roach, I'll tell you the story about Max. He hated my guts.
Really?
And I'll tell you that story in a little while.
Oh, wow. Oh,
And
wow. I'll be curious about that.
He says Max stole it off of me. Max used to do a thing called that was Max's thing.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, yeah, I know that one, yeah.
Boom, boom. I would take that and build a whole solo off of it and drive him crazy. He hated me for that. Anyway,
he has like 5 different records that he plays that.
That's right.
That
that's
pattern
right.
on.
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
And he stole that from Papa Joe Jones.
No way.
That's stolen,
Oh,
man. Papa Joe told me it's stolen.
man.
Papa Joe told me a whole lot of stuff that Max would play that was stolen from him. You understand? But Max loved Papa Joe.
Oh,
Papa
for
Joe
sure,
he invented the sock symbol.
Yeah, yeah.
But the original sock symbol was a little short thing down here. It didn't have the thing up here.
Oh, huh.
And later on, some innovative white dude put a long stem on it. You understand?
right.
But so you can play it from up here.
Oh,
You know, back there.
So they would literally just.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's the original one. Was down there. They should put out the original one. You know what I'm
That
saying?
would be cool.
Or have one. You can go from one to the other. You know what I'm saying?
I never even seen one of
that's
those.
Me either, man. But Papa Joe Jones, that was his creation.
Oh, wow.
And Papa Joe and I became friends, and he used to play at a club at a spot in New York. It was a delicatessen.
Wow.
But you go to, it was a deli. You can go in there and sit down and have a soda and a sandwich and whatever they're serving. But in the back, they had a room for music. And that was Papa Joe Jones' spot where he played.
Oh, wow.
He took his band in there, all the old cats, because Papa Joe Jones by this time was in his 70s or 80s when I met him.
Right, right.
Probably in his 80s. We hung out at the Newport Jazz Festival that year.
Oh, wow.
And hey man, I gotta tell you this. We were at the Newport Jazz Festival, right? And everybody, all the musicians, Dizzy, all those cats, they all like to get high, smoke grass,
Okay.
snort a little blow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they were all in this room, this hotel room. Was Sarah Vaughan, Dizzy, Max wasn't there because Max, if he drank a beer, he
was
wouldn't
out.
be no good.
Yeah.
And Dizzy didn't drink, but Dizzy could smoke grass and he could snort.
Okay.
You understand? It didn't affect him. But the room was filled with nothing but divas
Okay.
and top brass, all the top brass cats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was in there, I was like the little guy looking up at all these giants,
Oh, man.
you understand,
Wow.
enjoying their company.
Yeah.
All one of them had to do was say, get out of here, boy, and I would run with my tail between my legs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they never said that. They just allowed me to sit in there and listen. And they're all sitting in there drinking and listening to music and getting high. And then somebody said, Lady Day should be here now. This was long after she had died.
Oh, wow.
They said, Lady Day should be in here now. And the whole room suddenly went quiet. And I look around at everybody, and everybody had tears in their eyes, man.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. That was the respect they had for Lady Day. And that was the kind of atmosphere, because Lady Day was a junkie. She was a heroin addict.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And it says, Lady Day would love being here now. And all of a sudden, the room went dead quiet. And I just sat there and looked around, and every one of those guys and women in that room had tears in their eyes. I was the only one who wasn't shedding any tears. And I had met
They all knew
Lady
her.
Day, but
Oh, you did?
I met her in when I was working in Miami at the same hotel. She had just gotten out of jail. They used to lock you up for heroin use in those days.
Sure, yeah.
And she did some time, and this was one of her first gigs that she played when she got out of jail.
Man.
At the 535 room where I had a band. But she brought her own band,
Okay.
and I was playing opposite her and her band.
You sat
man.
in with them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Lady Day.
Damn.
With that flower, always trademarked that flower in her hair,
Yeah.
white gown. She was a classy lady, man. Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about Miami a little more too.
Miami was my early drumming days. That's where I learned to play. Well, partially, because where I really learned to play was, let me tell you, Miami. By the time I was 19 years old, I was working with Calypso Eddie. We got a gig going to Chicago to play at a club called the Le Cupidon. Le Cupidon Club on Madison, 58th and Madison Avenue in New York. Working for a guy named, a Frenchman named, I forgot his name, but he eventually started managing Maya Angelou.
Oh, wow.
He became Maya Angelou's manager. Maya Angelou at that time.
When she was a singer.
Yeah, she was a Calypso singer. She was working at a club called the Trinidad Room.
Huh.
And by that time, I was 17 years old when this happened. I had landed a gig. I was the first black person to teach dancing at an all-white Arthur Murray school in Florida.
Wow.
You know, Arthur Murray was a franchise. And there was a guy named Mr. Harvey that owned a Arthur Murray franchise. And Mr. Harvey hired me. Wow. My dancing partner was a girl named Shirley Jackson. And he hired me to come and teach Calypso movements to his students.
At an all-white school?
At an all-white school,
Wow.
South Miami.
Wow.
And because I could dance back in the day. I can
Okay.
still dance now. I got all the moves
Oh,
down.
man. All right.
And I went and I taught Calypso movements to all of these dancers that he had. So when I got the gig going to New York to play at the Le Cupidon, Mr. Harvey gave me the name and phone numbers of the dance educators of New York at that time.
Oh, wow.
Because he was sure that they would want to learn the same thing that I was teaching at his school.
Right, right.
And when I got to New York, he made me a lot of bucks. I made a lot of money.
Oh, wow.
Man, yeah. And I taught the dance educators of New York Calypso movements.
Wow.
You dig it?
Oh, man.
And like I said, I made some bucks. I had a nice write-up in Glamour magazine.
Okay.
With all these beautiful white models.
Wow.
You know, and I was wearing this colorful Calypso shirt,
Yeah.
and they were advertising Calypso lipstick.
Okay.
And the colors in my shirt had all the colors of these different color lipsticks
Oh,
in
wow.
it. So they had me to this beautiful black dude, young, and I was only about, how was I? About 20.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And all these beautiful white models around me. If you go back and find a Glamour magazine from 1957, I think it was.
Okay.
I think March 1957 Glamour, you might still see a picture of me in there.
I'm gonna see if I can
If
track
you
that
find
down on the internet.
let me know.
Yeah.
Send me a copy
I
of it.
will.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I went to New York, and I was playing at the Le Cupidon, and Calypso Ed and I, and they had another act there, Leo and Scoogie Rice, a man and wife team. They were from Trinidad. And Scoogie was Leo's wife. She was a dancer, and Leo played steel drums.
Oh, cool! Wow! Wow!
And Leo, and so Leo asked me, would I play drums for his wife to dance? And I said, yeah, man, I love it. He was a nice cat. She was a beautiful young chick. And I remember, I'll never forget this night. I played for her, and he taught me the rhythm that he wanted me to play for her. And it was this macumba rhythm, you know, like what they play in Brazil.
Yeah.
That's the bass. You know what I'm saying? Take it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, man, I possessed her. She went nuts. Hey, man, she fell out on the stage, frothing out of the mouth. They ran out there with the smelling salt.
Oh, my God.
My first possession. Man, let me tell you, no sex I've ever had in life was better than that moment. I'm telling you, man, to possess someone's spirit, to communicate with someone's spirit like that, it's unbelievable. It's hard to explain, man.
Wow.
That was my first possession.
Wow.
I had another one, but I'll tell you about that later on.
Okay.
But and we wound up with our pictures in all the big magazines, you know, because they came in, shot pictures of me, the dance educators of New York. You understand? They gave me heavy play, you know.
That's so cool.
And I made some nice bread, and I made more money than Calypso Eddie. Really. Wow. Because, you know, they were just playing in the club getting paid. I was doing all these extra gigs
all
and
the
getting paid.
Side work, yeah.
And all I was doing was teaching dance movement, simple dance movement. And I got it, I can show you those movements today.
Wow.
They're all there, man. Yeah.
Well, since we're still talking about Calypso, I got to ask about Lord Flea.
Oh, Lord Flea, well, Lord Flea came to Miami at a time when Calypso was at its peak. And he hooked up with a shyster named Bill Saxon, who robbed him.
Oh, man.
I mean, they did films and everything. Bill Saxon took all of their money. They were in Vegas and gambled all their money away. And they were making chump change. They never made any serious money. But they became quite famous. I played with them. I was never a regular.
Okay.
They would just allow me to come and sit in occasionally. And once we went to the Bahamas, and I sat in with them in the Bahamas at this club that a cat that I met while I was down there, a German dude named Don Seiler. And if you go online, you will see a picture that he did of me, the big hands and the drums. He was sort of like one of them Greek type artists, you know what I'm saying? Everything, big feet, big hands. Yeah. Well, I use it as a logo for my music now, online. So if you find that logo, I'll show it to you. Yeah. It's online. You can download my stuff and listen to it.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, Don Seiler heard me play, and he never said nothing to me. And then we left, and then time went by. I guess I was about 18. Let me see. I was about 18 years old. Because when I went to New York, I was about 17. I came back about 18. About a year or so went by, and one day I got a call from Don Seiler, and he had just redecorated his club, turned it into a fat boy. He was a great artist, man. Painter. He made all of these tablets, all that ancient stuff, had it along the wall, trimming the walls. It was beautiful, man. Put a lot of time. It took him about almost a year to put this club together the way he wanted it from the time when we had gone there. By that time, I was 20 I was 20 years old, I think I was. And he asked me did I want to come because he was bringing Paul Mears Jr., who was a great dancer. Paul Mears Sr. was a Buckingham Palace dancer who had played Buckingham Palace for the Queen in England. And he had moved back to Nassau and had opened a theater there. And his son, Paul Mears Jr., was a dancer. He, at the time, was working in Sweden, living and playing, dancing in Sweden. And Don brought Paul in to bring a show into his club. And he wanted, all the clubs in Nassau, Bahamas at that time had drummers as the star feature.
Okay.
Solo drummers who could solo.
Yeah, yeah.
And Don brought me in at a time when I was suffering from schizophrenic paranoia, man.
Oh, wow.
I went through that period of my life, man. And he sent me a ticket. And while I was going over there, I met my wife.
Oh, no way.
My wife's sister I had known a couple of years prior. She used to come to Miami. We used to go dancing together at the Elks Club. And when I was going over to Miami, over to Nassau to play in this club, she and her sister, my wife, was in the airport. And she introduced me to her sister, Ginger, my wife, who is just I'm just a year and a half, 2 years older than her.
Wow.
She's at the apartment now.
Wow.
And
so you guys have been together all these years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, not all these years. We split up and then we got back together
Oh,
and
okay.
remarried.
Wow, man. Wow.
Anyway, I went over to Nassau and I was going through this bad thing. I went through it while I was in Chicago. Because prior to that, after I came back from New York, we went to Chicago. We were in Chicago for 2 months in the winter. And when we got back from Chicago, it was November, we went to Nassau for Guy Fawkes night, spent 2 weeks there, came back, and then all this happened within a 2-3 year period. When Don called me and I went over there to play with Paul Mears Jr. And I got some pictures of all of that stuff at home. And I became their solo drummer. And it took me 5 years to conquer all those demons in myself. Oh man, that's another story in itself.
Yeah,
I'll tell it in my biography one day.
There you go, yeah.
But
And that was all down in Miami, Nassau, though?
this is in the Bahamas now. Because it started happening to me while I was in Miami, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, I asked the doctor, I said, how can I get rid of these bad feelings? Because I would wake up in the morning feeling great, and then when I realized there was life going on around me, I get this sick feeling in my stomach, and things begin to peer at me from around the corner and shit. And if I'm walking, I hear footsteps behind me. Man, schizophrenic paranoia is weird.
Yeah, right.
And you can't be in nothing exciting. I stopped going to movies, you know, watching TV.
Because all the stuff would come out at you.
Yeah, it
when
would bring on and I'd go off. So he gave me these pills, and he says, whenever you get these attacks, just pop one of these pills in your mouth, and it'll go away like what they give heart patients, that glycerin pill.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But after taking them pills a couple of times, I began to think, if I keep doing this, that means I'll be strung out on these goddamn pills. I'll flush them damn things, man.
Yeah,
Stop taking them.
Yeah.
I said, if I come out of this, I'm going to either come out of it okay or I'm going to die. 5 years later. But I came out of it because this guy, Siler, who owned the club, had gone through a similar thing in his life. And he said to me, he said, listen, man, the club is always open.
Wow.
If you want to play, just come in and play. So my drums were set up in the club, and he gave me a bicycle. He said, ride this bike every day, man. You know, you need that exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the doctor told me, he says, exercise, a good diet, change of scenery. That's when I left Miami.
Okay.
Because Miami had done it to me.
Yeah.
And you know what had happened to me? They had a over-the-counter drug called what was it? It was designed to keep you awake.
Oh, it was
and when
like
I was doing those,
some kind of speed, basically.
Yeah, when I was doing those gigs at the hotel at night, I would take these pills. I used to work from 11.
Man.
I used to work from 11 at night till 5 in the morning.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And
damn.
that's what I believe messed me up.
Sounds like it, right?
So I went to the Bahamas. Dawn gave me the bike. Every morning I'd get up, jump on that bike, ride to the marketplace, have me some fruit, some bananas and pineapple and stuff like that. Get on the bike, ride 7 miles out, 7 miles back, my 14-mile bike ride. And I did that for the next 5 years, man, every day.
Huh.
And at the end of 5 years, I was normal.
Wow.
Came back, and I was playing like no one has ever heard.
Yeah.
Because going in that
you
club,
unlocked something when you...
Hey, man, that was when I learned how to play, when I was half nuts. And I had a, well, have you ever seen the video Soul Power?
I didn't. I heard about it,
Well,
though.
man,
Yeah.
Check my 4-minute solo I'm doing on Soul Power.
Okay.
And you'll see what I was doing back then on drums. You can get it online. You might find it on your phone.
Yeah, I was looking for it, but I'll look again.
Soul Power. Anyway, I developed this.
Oh, wow.
I used to do it fast. You know, or if you get the 2 albums, Night of the Cookers.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard that album?
Yeah.
That's me playing drums on the conga drums on that.
I know, man.
And what I
that
did,
solo is out of control.
Man, well, let me tell you, Pete LaRocca, he had a fat ego, and he was out to destroy me that night because I was the newest cat on the block.
Okay.
You understand? And he did everything he could to discourage me. And when he got through playing and I took a solo, I brought the complete house down. You hear it on the record.
Yeah, I know,
It's
man.
all there. And
that solo is so...
After doing a whole lot of, abstract, in and out rhythms, then I went into that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Killed them. Killed them. Night of the Cookers turned out to be one of Freddie Hubbard's best and most monetarily big album. And I made more money off of than any of the other sidemen because New York musicians, man, let me tell you, they were the worst. Those cats were so deeply involved in poverty until they refused to ask for what they thought they was worth when they did a gig.
Wow.
You offer them $100, and it's like that today.
Yeah.
$100, $200. That's a big payday for them. So when we got through doing that album, Night of the Cookers, Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan, they were both signed to Blue Note Records.
Right.
Blue Note had them already. You see, so Freddie said to us,
"Oh wow,
it's up to you guys to negotiate what you want to get off of this record."
Yeah.
So I heard on the grapevine that Alpha Lion was desperate for this record because it's the first time he got the world's 2 greatest jazz trumpeter together.
And he wants
Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan.
He wants to put that thing out.
Hey.
Yeah.
So he offered everybody in the band $250 a piece.
Thinking he could just sneak
So
it
I
by
went to the
you,
guys
yeah.
and I said, man, listen, I heard that Alpha Lion wants this record bad.
Yeah.
Now we could ask him for 25 grand, 20 grand.
Yeah.
And we can split them 20 grand. The four of us left. The 4 of us that was gonna split the money.
Yeah.
We could get 5 grand a piece for this record.
Yeah.
Them guys look at me and says, nigga, are you crazy? Just like that, I swear to God. And for the next 3 weeks,
man.
these cats terrorized me over the phone, threatened my life. told me that I was taking food out of that children's mouth.
What?
They wanted that $250, and I was the only one that's holding it up.
Oh, man.
All I had to do was to sign the paper,
Right.
and we would have gotten $250 apiece.
Yeah.
So when I got tired of them threatening me, I said, okay, man. I went to Alpha Lion.
Yeah.
I said, Mr. Lion, here's what I want, and you can do what you want. I will sign the paper. First, you give me $4,000 for me. Give me a check for the union dues.
Yeah.
Because the union got a piece.
Right.
All together, I got over $5,000 out of the deal. You understand? Sign the papers. They got $250. And they hate me to this day. Larry Ridley, Harold Mayburn, Jimmy Spalding is still my buddy. You understand what I'm saying? But he didn't threaten me. But he was willing to take the $250. He just stayed out of it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But Harold Mayburn and Larry Ridley, they threatened my life. Told me they would kill me.
Wow.
Because I was keeping food out of that kid's mouth. And I said to myself, well, how can $250, you understand, starve you out? You understand what I'm saying? What were you doing before this $250 came along?
Right.
That gave me a different outlook on New York musicians. Pharoah Sanders, who just passed away, man.
Yeah.
Pharoah used to play for me. I opened a little club in New York.
Oh, okay.
This Greek had a place, you know them Greek bars? The Greek had all the bars stored up in Harlem. But downstairs, they each had a banquet room.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the Greek one day, and I had a shyster buddy who robbed me. I got robbed too now. I got robbed out of Chicago. Jimmy Davis, he robbed me.
Damn.
But
it used to happen to all the musicians, huh?
Yeah, man.
I guess it still does.
So we decided we would open a club. We were going to call it the African Bag. So we went to the Greek and we said to him, man, listen, we want the room downstairs. You can sell your booze. You understand? We'll get our money off the door. You know, we was charging $2 at the door to come in.
Okay.
$2.
Yeah.
The Greek agreed. We put our sign up, the African Bag. It was in the basement. You can enter from the outside, go down. You don't have to go through the bar.
Okay, cool,
There's a basement entrance. You walk
Go
right down,
in,
straight in. And we were charging $2. And Ray Bryant, man, who's one of the top jazz pianists in the world, you know Kevin Eubanks?
Yeah,
who was on the Tonight Show?
Yeah, the guitarist.
That's his uncle.
Oh, no
Ray
way.
Bryant was his uncle.
No idea.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
man. Oh, Kevin was from a musical family. His mother was a great pianist.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
And he and I did a badass album. Get the album
really?
called Opening Night.
Okay.
And there's a piece on there he wrote for me that I played. You want to hear that piece, a badass piece, man. And
you play on that record?
Yeah, I'm on it. That's what I'm
Check that
saying.
out, yeah.
Opening Night. So when I hired Ray Bryant came and played for me for 3 nights.
Damn.
For $90. He and his trio, the Ray Bryant trio, got $90 for playing 3 nights.
The whole trio got $90.
The whole trio.
Oh my God.
Hey man, when I first went to New York, I was working at the African Roof for $90 a week.
Yeah.
A week.
Man.
$90, that's what they were paying in those days, man.
Man.
Joe Green and his partner, you understand? And it was a tourist trap. The African Room was nothing but tourists. Me, Richie
so they were
Havens,
charging.
Richie Havens, Chief Bay, Lester Wilson.
Yeah.
You remember Lester Wilson was the one that did all those movements in that John Travolta movie. John Travolta doing all that dance stuff.
Oh, yeah,
That's Lester Wilson's choreography.
Oh, wow.
Lester was a bad cat.
Wow,
You understand?
Yeah.
And we were all at the African Room together.
Huh.
I got a picture of me and Richie Havens right now in my wallet. I'll show you. Maybe I'll find a picture. I'll give it to you, me and Richie Havens.
Yeah.
And where were we?
Talking about the African Bag.
So we been playing at the African Bag, and Pharoah Sanders. Doing the African Bag is where I met Randy Weston.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You dig it?
Yeah.
He came down to support Ray Bryant because all of them had this organization they called Ndugu and Goma, which meant musical brothers.
Oh, okay.
And they had a loft down on Spruce Street where all of the cats was hanging out. You dig it? So by having this little funky spot of my own, I learned where the hipper cats were playing at and what was going on in New York.
Yeah,
You dig
yeah.
it? So Randy came down to support Ray Bryant, and he heard me play, and I hooked him. And the next thing I know, I had gigs with him.
Huh.
So we closed the club down, we discontinued the club.
Oh, man.
Move up Spruce Street. Hey, man, every weekend, man, 500, 600 people packed this loft. You had to walk like 5 stories up.
Oh, wow.
Carrying instruments up all those steps was a bitch too, man.
That's
I'll never, the
tough,
same
man.
drum.
Yeah,
I
this
had
guy.
this
Oh,
very
wow.
same drum here, man.
Wow.
All over New York, went everywhere.
Man.
I can tell you, this: if this drum could talk, it would tell you some stories you have. Unbelievable stories
Man.
of my life,
Wow.
you know. Anyway, that's where I began to play, and then I started cooking big pots of food and taking it up there for sale to supplement
Okay.
my income.
Yeah, that's
and boy,
smart.
look at how I killed them with the food.
Oh, man.
Hey, the Muslims got lamb, the non-Muslims got pork.
Wow. Wow.
I had 2 pots.
Wow, man.
And they would get
You were
they
killing
would they would get a paper plate full of food
Yeah.
and a glass of wine.
All right.
Cheap wine.
Yeah. It's still wine.
Had about a jug, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the scene.
Oh, man.
And that went on for a while. That was a survival. Hey, man, it was all about survival in New York.
Sure, sure.
You know,
Just
and this
making
was-
rent to the
yes,
next month.
That's right. That's right. And what happened was, Randy Weston, I was doing so bad. Randy Weston gave me a room in his house in Brooklyn, so that he would be close to me when any gig come up. And then Randy Weston eventually moved from Brooklyn to 3rd Avenue and 14th Street, 3rd Avenue and 14th Street, 13th Street. And that's where we used to hang out. By that time, I had a pad of my own, and we would go up there and rehearse. There's a couple of albums out with Randy with me and Booker Irwin.
Yeah, I
Ray
heard some of
Copeland.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did those things with them, African Cookbook, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Great
Yeah.
album.
And that's how I cut into Randy. And for the next 10 years or so, I played off and on with Randy, you know. Of course, he was very cheap, and I didn't make any money working with him.
Oh, really?
But I stayed with him for the experience, because I loved his music. You understand?
Fantastic.
And
Musical
nobody
concept.
played. Hey, man, I got some duo stuff that we played when we toured Brazil. 100% of the time we got standing ovation. 100%.
Man.
And if you hear the last concert I did with Randy before he died at UCLA, me, Randy, and Alex Blake. You know who Alex Blake is?
I know the name.
Bass player.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. And kept he was from Panama. Randy's originally from Panama.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
Randy's
I had no
Panamanian.
idea
Yeah,
about
man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's Panamanian.
From like the English-speaking side?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
And Alex Blake too was from Panama. So was the guys in the group Mandrill.
Yeah,
They were all
Panamanian?
Panamanians. Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, man. And my best buddy, Tommy Trujillo, was the guitar player in that band. He made a lot of money. He lives in Pasadena right now.
In Mandrill?
From Mandrill. He used to be in Mandrill.
Yeah, yeah.
But he took his money and bought him an apartment building and a house and everything. He's still
Okay.
living in it up there in Pasadena right now.
Wow, wow.
But these cats were all my buddies, you know. And I'm gonna hook you up with some of that music
Oh, I'd love
for
to hear
your
it.
personal use.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as I make some copies, you know, I got it all at the house. I copy some, put in a package. You give me all your mailing address when you
for
finish
sure.
this,
Absolutely.
and I'll send it to you.
Wow.
But these are the kind of things that I was doing. I played the Boston Pops with Randy under John Williams. You notice on that thing that I have that in there?
Yeah, yeah.
I did Spoleto. Oh man, the Spoleto Festival, boy, we killed them. Oh, what a night. That's Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, okay, wow.
I didn't have the Spoleto thing on there either because when this was printed, I hadn't done it, but you could put Spoleto Festival on there.
Okay,
you could jot that on there.
Yeah, yeah.
And toured all over the Leeward Islands with Randy.
Oh, wow.
Brazil.
Yeah, tell me about your time in Brazil with him.
I'm telling you now, man, 100% of the time we played in Brazil, we were duo, piano and conga drums.
You were just touring as two of you?
Two of us.
Wow.
I mean, 100% standing ovations. When we played in Rio, because we were in Bahia. We first went to Bahia, and then we went from Bahia to Rio. We played in Rio. We played in Porto Alegre. We played in Brasilia.
Wow.
We just toured the whole country, and 100% of the time we got standing ovations, and when we were playing in Rio, we played in what is that street? El Salvador, Porto Alegre,
Salvador de Bahia.
The other one, the other big city there.
Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo. Played Sao Paulo. We've been into the Amazon. They had built this city.
Wow.
They built this city in the Amazon. This was called see, because Bahia was once the capital of Brazil.
Yeah.
They built a new capital in the jungles.
That's Brasilia, right?
Brasilia, called Brasilia. It was built by a German, and this German was a fascist. Everything was minimal.
Oh, sure.
The hotels had single beds, but it was really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice, but all single beds.
Fascist architecture.
The whole city had no lights. Everything moved in a circle, and the whole city was designed like an airplane. Whoa. If you see it from the air, it looked like a giant airplane sitting there, because it lights up at night. The whole city was built like an airplane. Like an airplane, man. Like where the cockpit was. That's where the president. The president's palace was.
Right.
And as you come down, you got all the official buildings like City Hall and all those.
And the legislature is.
The wings. And the wings that jarred out was like the expensive homes and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Where those people live. And then you're coming down the back end of the fuselage, and as you get towards the tail, you got the city and all of that stuff. Man.
Right.
It was beautiful. We saw it. You could see it as you fly over it at night, because when we left Brazil, we flew it over it at night, and we could see it from up there. And while I was in Rio, some professors from the University of Rio came to see us, and they were so turned on by what we were doing, and they were turned on to my style, which was closely related to the Brazilian style. My drum style, I play a lot of stuff that is Brazilian, but
like rhythmically, or?
Yes, but on the bebop hip hop level.
Right.
Not bebop hip hop, but on the bebop level.
Right. Yeah.
I was just playing bebop then.
Right.
And they offered me a professorship to leave the band, stay in Brazil, and teach. Yeah, I said no, man.
Those are those like moments in life where it's just a fork in the road.
That's right. No teaching for me now, because I was so hooked into Randy.
Yeah.
Oh, Randy. I've never played with anyone like him, man. That's why I got all of his stuff that I got at home. I can sit down and listen to it over and over and over and over and over, and just keep hearing things that I need to be playing.
Yeah. No, I mean, an artist like that. I mean, every time, it doesn't matter how many times you've listened to it, new things are always jumping out at you, even when he's doing something simple.
And he was known as the waltz king, because 80% of his music was waltz. It was done in 3/4. 6/8 time, yeah.
I'm gonna go back and pay attention.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna give you some stuff of his for you to hear. of the way he and I played together.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that for sure.
People couldn't tell the difference. They didn't know who was playing the piano and who was playing the congas when we were playing together. If they closed their eyes, they couldn't tell the difference.
It just all mixes together.
The way it blended.
Wow, man. That's
so
wild.
And the way I tuned, because I never played this drum with Randy. I played my big drums at home. I got my concert drums in the apartment, and the way those drums are tuned, you understand. Dorian, when you tune Dorian blends with whatever key all the other instruments are playing in. Dorian is like the neutral gear in a car. You know what I'm saying?
It just fits in.
It works
no
with
matter
everything.
What. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If I play a note in Dorian and he's playing a note out of Dorian, it blends. It's harmonically perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. So that made it almost impossible for people to realize who was playing what.
Yeah, because it was just
especially I had a finger style, and he's playing the piano with the finger, and my bass was on the left, and my treble was on the right.
Right.
You understand?
And these percussive hits, like.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something about Randy, because I grabbed a copy of his autobiography from the library before coming out to talk to you. He says in there that he invited you to tour West Africa, but you didn't want to go?
Yes.
Can I ask why not? Because it seems like you're so, focused on Africa with your work.
I did go to Morocco with him, but I never went to Africa because I was into something else at that time. And his son, who was a great drummer, Azadeen's son, Azadeen wound up going to Africa with him.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But eventually I went to Morocco, and we spent a couple of months down in Morocco. Had a great time. Played in Casablanca.
Oh, wow.
Made me think of that film that Humphrey Bogart did.
Right, yeah,
in Casablanca.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, it was great.
Wow.
It was great, man. And I'll never forget it because I met some Indian drummers.
Oh, cool. Yeah. The tabla.
Yeah.
The fingers.
And I'm doing this stuff, the finger stuff on these big. They could not.
That must have been a trip for them.
Oh man, I messed them up. I messed them up bad. Oh man, I did a number on their heads. They loved it though. They loved it. They loved it. Yeah, man, I'll never forget that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you more about these U.S. musicians, but since we're talking about Africa now, I want to talk to you about when you went to Kinshasa in '74.
Well, it was '74. That was during the Muhammad Ali fight.
Yeah, the Rumble in the Jungle.
That is. If you get the Soul Power video, that has the solo that I did.
Oh, so I have seen that solo. Yeah. Oh man, that thing was out of control.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Man.
But I'll tell you the story behind that. You remember Mano the Bongo?
Yeah,
Soul Makossa?
He passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah. COVID took him out.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Stuart Levine, during that time. When Muhammad Ali was going to fight George Foreman in Africa, Stuart Levine came up with the idea to go over and do a concert as a prelude to the fight. You understand what I'm saying? Just before the fight, because there's going to be a lot of people in Africa,
Oh, like immediately before, not like the day
Africa
before.
Ain't got no money because the African local people.
Yeah, it's all been stolen away.
Whole bands was working for $10 a night. The whole band. I'll tell you the story.
Damn.
Oh, Africa is pathetic, man.
Damn.
Yeah, I could have cried when I first went to Africa, man. It was so out of touch with my reality of what the world should be like. Anyway, Stuart Levine had set this whole thing up, man. They had everybody for this tour. James Brown, Pointer Sisters,
Wow.
all of the top funk groups, Fornia All Stars, all of the bad Latin cats, they were all there. And Stuart heard me playing with Mano the Bongo.
Oh, okay. Oh, you played with Mano the Bongo?
No, I'm gonna tell you now. Stuart had everything set. Who plays with who? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm going. I'm not taking a band. I'm going over as just a guest artist.
Yeah, yeah.
With whomever he puts me with.
Okay, okay.
So he got me signed to play with Mono the Bongo. So when we got there, everybody's rehearsing. I'm sitting up in the hotel waiting for somebody to call me to tell me what to do. I called Stewart up. Stewart said, "But Black, you're scheduled to play with Mono the Bongo. You understand? So go and check out his rehearsal."
Okay.
So I went to Mono the Bongo's rehearsal. He didn't know me. He had never heard of me. You know what I'm saying? And
so you're supposed to introduce yourself and say, "I'm sitting in."
Well, I just introduced myself. I said, "Well, man, Stuart Levine told me that I should be playing with you."
Right.
But he knew Ray Barretto. And he liked Ray Barretto.
He wanted Ray.
He wanted Ray Barretto. He didn't give a damn what I sound like.
Right.
He had no idea what a hit we would have been.
I know.
Because what I would have done, because Soul Makossa was a badass piece.
I know.
That he wrote, man.
If you would have gotten into that.
And he was badass tenor player, you know.
Yeah, he was.
From Cameroon. And man, I just started thinking on Cameroon. They're starving in Cameroon right now. I mean, starving. But he refused me. He said, "Well, man, I'm sorry. I don't know you." He could put on an air.
Yeah, you know,
yeah. Got snobbish on me.
Right, the
I
French
said, "Okay,
thing."
man." Oh, I said, "Okay, man." I went back to Stuart. I said, "Stuart, listen, Mono the Bongo wants Ray Barretto to play with him. I'll tell you what you do. You know the group? They had a group of about 20 saxophones, an African group.
Okay.
Called, what was the name of that group? Oh, boy.
Oh, TPOK, it's Franco's band, right?
Yes.
What is Franco's band called? That's so bad. I can't.
Yeah, all saxophones.
It. Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Anyway.
It's so bad.
They were bad.
Yeah.
I said, "Stuart, put me on after them because I know they were going to bring down the house.
Yeah.
And I want to follow somebody strong.
Yeah.
Because that would test my ability, you know what I'm saying? And so Stuart says, "Cool." Yeah. So I wound up playing by myself. And that's that solo I'm telling you about.
And people were going nuts in that video.
Hey, man. 4 minutes, I destroyed them. I destroyed them. And dig this. Mono the Bongo and I met the California All-Star with Ray Barretto hogged all of Mono the Bongo's time, and he didn't get to play at all.
Oh my God.
Hey man, I'm not laughing at the cat, but you know what I'm saying?
Funny,
I didn't feel sorry for him because the time that I went up to play was the time that he could have gone up to play right after OK Jazz.
OK Jazz, OK Jazz.
Right after OK Jazz, we could have gone up, we would have killed him. He and I could have killed him without a band. Yeah. Just the two of us. You understand? Because I was accustomed to playing that. I got a record home that me and Saeed did, a brother named Saeed played nothing but reeds. Just the two of us. We went to Africa. We played the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Went to Ivory Coast together, me and Saeed, and we opened for Kool and the Gang.
Word.
You know, we were the opening act for Kool and the Gang, and we destroyed them. And when you hear this record, you wouldn't believe it, man. You wouldn't believe this thing the two of us did.
So that performance got put out as an album?
Yes, man. I got it.
Oh wow, I got it
at home.
I gotta hear that. Man.
So
Ivory Coast, wow.
Ivory Coast.
I want to ask you too, when you were in Kinshasa, is it true that you met Hunter S. Thompson out there?
Hunter Thompson? That was my man.
All right.
Oh man, you want to hear the story?
Yeah, tell me a story about him. Come on.
All right, let me tell you. Me and Hunter was hanging out. You understand what I'm saying? And Hunter was a big smoker of grass, and so was I at the time. So I said to Hunter, I said, "Man, I met this cat at the club. The band I told you about was working for $10 a week. The whole band, about 8 people in the band, and they were all working
sharing
for
the $10.
$10 a week. A week, not a night, a week.
Bro, that's crazy.
So I had asked this cat, I said, "Man, where can I get some good smoke?" You know what I'm saying? He says, "Come to my house."
Okay.
So he gave me some directions to his house, you understand? I took a cab and I went up to his house the next day. And when I got there, man, it was a little bungalow house, you know, a wooden house, not a, you know.
Like a compound house.
Yeah, it was a regular house.
Yeah, yeah.
And sitting on a mat in the house was this old woman, looked to be about in her high 90s.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Very thin.
Yeah.
You dig it, sad, sitting there against the wall like this, not smiling, not saying nothing. So I said to the cat, I said, hey man, where's the smoke? So I had about $30, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna get about an ounce of smoke. Right. Because that's all I wanted. This cat came out with a fucking 4-pound bag of smoke and gave it to me. And I says, how much? He says, $2. $2.
Did you take the whole thing?
I took the whole thing. So I gave him his $2, and I took the 20, and I gave it to the old lady sitting on the mat. Yeah. When she saw the 20, hey man, I felt like you remember that film, The Millionaire? Yeah. I felt like the millionaire, the way that woman. Hey man, hey man, this woman was immediately transformed into a young woman. She jumped up off the floor and started doing the little African dance. Yeah. And looking at this, she had probably never seen a $20 bill in her life. Right, right. She knew that it was a lot of money. Yeah. $20, some people work a whole year. Damn. For $20 in Africa. Those houseboys and shit like that. Right, right, right. Never forget that. So then I took the smoke. I went back to the hotel. Okay. Everybody in the hotel was getting high. That's what me and Hunter, I gave Hunter all of that smoke. Nice. I just took me enough out of it for what I wanted to use. I gave it all to Hunter, right? Hunter had everybody in the hotel smoking. And we smoked and we smoked, and on the day we was about to leave after the festival and everything, the fight and everything was over, we had all this smoke. So I says to Hunter, what are you gonna do with it, man? Because we couldn't take it with us, you know? You can't take it on the plane, yeah. Hunter says, I know what to do with it. Oh, no. Hunter went downstairs and dumped all the smoke in the fucking pool. Came back upstairs. I said, man, what did you do? He said, look out the window. I look out the hotel window. All the smoke is floating on the pool, man. That was the last time I saw Hunter. When I heard about him again, he had committed suicide. Oh, man. Yeah, but he talked about me in one of his books, you know? Yeah, I think that's... About the time he spent in Africa. Yeah, I think that's how I heard about it. Yeah, man. He was cool, man. Wow. I liked him a lot. Wow, wow, Hunter Thompson. Yeah, man. What a guy. True story, man. Amazing. He dumped all of that smoke in the pool. Wow, we never smoked at all, man. About a good 4 or 5 pounds of smoke. You know? You weren't there for enough time. No, man. Wow. Wow. So I want to ask you too. Speaking of things I've read in books, Stephen Isoardi's book, The Dark Tree. He mentioned it's about Horace Tapscott, you know. Right. And then he mentions that in the '60s they would have people playing drums down in Venice, and you would come out sometimes. Yeah, once in a while. I knew Tapscott well. Oh, okay. Well, I think I played with Tapscott a couple of times, but I never had a big relationship with Tapscott because his style was equated to sort of Randy Westonish, and I was playing with Randy, who was the cat. Right, right. So he didn't interest me that much, but I remember playing with him a couple of times. And we had a good relationship whenever we saw each other. It was always, a good laughing hello and a good heart handshake. But that's about as much as I knew. And then he had another cat used to play with him. What was his name? Leon Thomas. Oh, the singer. Leon Thomas. He's a yodeler. Yeah, yeah. And Leon was my buddy. And it was really through Leon that I met Horace, because he was a part of Horace's band. And I didn't know that. Leon eventually succumbed to smoking too much crack. Oh man! We were in New York together, and man, I hadn't seen him for a long time, and I got on the bus one day, and I was going uptown on the bus, and Leon was on that bus. He was living in Harlem at the time. And man, he looked so bad. I didn't even know him, man, because he was really a very healthy looking cat.
Yeah.
And he had smoked so much of that stuff. And I really felt bad when I saw him, man.
Damn.
I really, I think about it now, I feel bad just talking about it. And he said to me, he said, Black, help me out, man. Can I borrow $5? Yeah, man. I gave Leon $5 he asked me for. You know what I'm saying? And I said, man, what's your phone number? I said, any gigs come up, you know, I might be able to use you, because if I got a gig, and sure enough, I got a gig doing a workshop at, what was the name of this great dancer, this black choreographer?
Oh, Ali?
Alvin Ailey. Alvin Ailey Dance Studio. They called me one day, they wanted me to come down and do a workshop. And I called Leon Thomas, and he brought along his buddy, who was also a crackhead. So now you know, some cats play good on drugs, you know what I'm saying? But some can't. And I would tell you, man, I took those 2 cats on the gig, and if it hadn't been for the fact that I could hold it together with my drums, it would have been a complete failure. But they made a little money, and that was the last time I saw Leon Thomas.
Man.
After the Alvin Ailey workshop we did. He and this piano player, who I don't even remember his name, but he was at one time a great pianist. But you know, drugs just destroy some of those cats, man, you know?
So sad.
Drugs destroyed Freddie Hubbard.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's what killed Freddie Hubbard, man. What?
Wow.
Oh my God. Freddie Hubbard and what's
Lee
the singer?
Morgan. Oh.
No, the singer, female singer. What's her name? Used to sing like Billy Eckstine.
Oh, recently?
No, back in the day. She was a Billy Eckstine, Sarah Vaughan.
Oh, really? Took her out?
Oh, man, Sarah Vaughan,
I didn't actually know that.
Freddie Hubbard, crack took them all out, man. They smoked themselves to death. Yeah. And Freddie, he was ridiculous, man. He got to the point where he had cancer in his lip, and he couldn't play his horn, you know? Oh, man, boy, look here. He was the greatest trumpet player. I like Freddie better than I did Dizzy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, I mean,
nobody
can play like him.
Nobody, you know? And Lee Morgan, I saved his life. He was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
I was hanging out up in Harlem, and we had a printing press. I was part of that Garvey movement, black nationalists.
Oh, wow.
Garvey, Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, yeah.
I met these cats. I wasn't really a part of the movement, but my name was Big Black, and I became a symbol of what they were all about.
Yeah.
So they gave me all the gigs. So I just played the role and got all the gigs. Every gig that they had, I was the feature attraction.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
You understand what I'm saying? So we used to print all of Malcolm X's propaganda for his rallies and stuff.
Right.
We had a printing press. We call it the Combine. We had a printing press, and that's what we did. We print stuff for all of the different organizations around there in Harlem.
Wow.
And we used to all not only print, we slept in the printing press.
Oh, wow.
5 or 6 cats. When they had the riots going on, we were all down there. They
Just
were
day
shooting,
and night running the...
They were shooting outside, smashing bottles on the doorstep because, you know, you go down all concrete and into this basement, and in the basement is where the printing press was.
Oh, so you were hearing it like a war zone out there.
We had a what do you call these sterno? Oh, not a sterno. These electric cook.
Oh yeah,
burners.
Yeah.
We would cook big pots of food for everybody. I was the chef. Right. and that was our lifestyle. So when Malcolm X died, I had the tape of Malcolm X's actual death.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, it was all tape. It was all on tape.
Yeah, yeah.
How he got up and he says, brothers and sisters, and somebody made a commotion in the back. Yada-da-da-da-da. Kill him dead. That's right. He had about maybe $200-300 worth of propaganda in boxes that we had printed up for him that he never got.
Never collected.
He died,
wow.
man. He died, and it was right down the street from where right there in Harlem. Yep, Malcolm. I knew Malcolm.
Wow.
And I was a youngster, man. And a lot of the guys in that organization that I was in, they went out and shot people, killed people. Gus, one of my best buddies, he's in jail today if he's still alive. He was in jail, he went to jail for life. He went and shot a white dude sitting on a park bench, just for the hell of it.
Wow.
Killed him dead, they gave him life in jail. After he'd been in about 20 years, he got out. He couldn't stand to be out. He went and smashed some windows and went back to jail.
Just to go back in,
and he spent the rest of his life in jail.
They say that about some people. Once they adapt to the system inside, they can't.
Another kid, Roger, he killed a dude on the subway train, stabbed him to death. He was messing with this little black chick. This little white dude, Jewish cat, came to the aid of the black chick.
Oh, wow.
He took out his knife, killed him.
Man.
He's in jail for life. Never saw him again. These are the kind of guys that I was hanging with back in those days. But I was never of that mindset.
Yeah.
I was in it for the music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was it.
Man, wow.
Harlem. When they tried to kill what's the cat name? The preacher. Martin Luther King. When they tried to kill him, I was right there. Wow. You dig it? He was up on the box talking to people. Crazy. Boy, look at some serious things was going on in Harlem in those days.
Yeah.
Women couldn't wear wigs. Black women with wigs get it snatched off. They hated wigs.
Yeah.
You wear your natural hair.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy militant stuff.
Sick.
Yeah. No, it was like a pressure cooker.
That's right. And I was in the midst of all of that, and I survived it. I survived it. I survived it. And I'm gonna tell you, man, there were some hard days. Talk about starving. But kept me alive.
Yeah, man, wow.
I remember I hocked this drum one time for $2 to get myself a Pepsi Cola and 2 packs of nabs. You know what nabs are?
What, like
those little peanut butter crackers?
Oh my God.
We call those nabs.
Oh yeah. Just hunger.
I was so hungry, and I'm walking around with this drum.
Thinking.
And I went by the pawn shop. $2 the cat gave me for this drum.
How much you pay to get it back?
I paid the $2 plus interest.
Okay.
But I didn't wait long.
Yeah.
Because I know if he'd kept, man, this drum.
It wasn't gonna sit for too long.
If this drum could talk, this drum is a history in itself. There was 4 of these. I gave one to my nephew. He's gone. He played it until he died. I don't know what he did with the one I gave him. And the other 2, because these fiberglass, some of them cave in. You know? And 2 of them caved in, and I left it in storage in South Carolina, in a storage shed that I left out there. I got some property in South Carolina that I'll never go back to. I just let my other nephews and them have it. But a lot of my stuff is still out there. You know, my scrapbook. I did Big Time Buck White, the play.
Yeah.
You know, directed by Oscar Brown Jr. That was a smash hit.
Wow.
And Muhammed Ali did the same thing, and he lasted 2 weeks.
I read about that.
They lost about $300,000 because they had to pay him $150,000
just to get him out there.
Just to be on stage.
Right.
And he screwed up. Yeah, man. If they had taken us to Broadway, it would have been a smash. We were a smash in San Francisco. I mean, a smash. Man, people were. I went to all of the schools doing speeches. Yeah. Because people thought I was a real preacher. because I played a preacher.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, big time Buck White, big time. Yeah, Buck White.
Well, so that's the thing, you know, I mean, we're here, you know, I'm interviewing you mostly about music, but you're not just a musician, right? You're an actor.
Some acting. I did some, not a lot, but because I always gave, when I quit big time Buck White, I went on the road with Master Keeler. And 2 weeks later, I quit him and never went back. So I lost the play. If I had stayed with the play, I would have done much better.
Right.
But I lost the play. And the reason I did that, because when I heard that they were taking it to Broadway and they were going to use Muhammad Ali and not me, who had already made it a success, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said, well, fuck y'all, I'm gone.
Easier to walk away, right? Yeah.
So that's what happened there.
But then Adam Rudolph was telling me too, he said that you're something of a master chef.
I do cook. I cook. I'm not a master chef, but what I cook good.
Yeah, well, talk about that, because to me, the food is another art form, right?
Yeah, like, man. Yeah.
What's your relationship to cooking?
Well, I started with flapjacks when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And I went from flapjacks to whatever else you want to eat that I feel like cooking. If I want to cook something, I just think it up and I put it together. It's always good. You got to be able to think good stuff,
right?
To cook good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wow,
I'm a good barbecue man, grill man. I've worked in a few restaurants, but I was always either a breakfast cook or a grill person.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? I was never a second chef, and I was always that extra guy. Grilling, and I do eggs and pancakes and sausage and all of that stuff. Cheese omelets and banana omelets and banana pancakes, all that stuff. I can do all that.
That's great, man. Well, I want to ask you about some people that you played with, and some of these names have already come up in the interview. Some of them haven't, but you mentioned Pharoah.
Pharoah Sanders. Pharoah Sanders played at the African Bag for me for $15 a night. And he wound up making 20 grand a night, you understand, for his work.
Yeah.
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 But that just goes to show you what it was like in New York in those days. You understand? And he was experimenting because he always played his saxophone with an upside down mouthpiece.
Oh, really?
To get a different sound. He and a guy named Lewis. He and a guy, Lewis, I forgot Lewis' last name, but he and Lewis, they used to play the same kind of weird stuff. And there was a piece of ooh-wee, boo-wee, 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 boo-wee. And they go from that into the most out-of-the-box stuff you ever heard in your life. Yeah. Yeah, Pharoah just passed away recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
My buddy.
And is it true that you played with Coltrane at some point?
Oh yeah, his last concert in Los Angeles in 1968.
Wow, man.
His final concert, I played with him. Now, I'll tell you a story. About, I would say about 6 or 8 months prior to that, maybe longer, Eric Dolphy, whom I love, always loved Eric Dolphy.
The man.
And I was working, where was I working? I was working at the African Room.
Okay.
No. I was working with Randy Weston. And I went to Birdland to hear Eric Dolphy for the first time. I've always loved his music because he played bird sounds on his flute, you know?
Oh, wow.
And his alto and his soprano. So I went to see Eric, and I was feeling great, man. I was happy, feeling good. Walked into the club, walked into Bird, and I always buy a ticket, never tried to get in for free.
Cool, yeah, I like that, man.
And I used to always tell cats, when you come to see me play, buy a ticket. I don't give away no free tickets.
Yeah.
You know? Bought my ticket and walked in. When I got to within air range of what Eric and those were playing, it completely changed my personality. Hey man, if you go online, there's a story, I'm telling this story online about The Power of Music, it's called. It's titled, you can look it up. Eric's music turned me into an instant monster. and I began to fume, breathe hard. Couldn't help myself, man. I got upset like somebody was threatening me, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I walked up and I stood in front of the bandstand and I waited and I waited. And when they got through playing, I got up in Eric's face and what the fuck is this shit you niggas are playing?
Wow.
I'm screaming in the club.
Yeah.
Man, this is not me. I don't do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't create nothing for people to look at me.
Yeah, yeah.
I started screaming obscenities. What in the fuck are you niggas playing?
Wow.
Organized disorder? And me and Eric scream at each other.
He got into it with you.
And when I got through screaming, I said, oh, fuck y'all. And I walked off, and as I'm walking out, this little shorty, or little midget, he was the bouncer then. I forgot his name.
Oh, the famous guy.
Yes, he was
the
famous.
The famous guy who's on all the records.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
little shorty. And he had a one of these big old Bowie knives stuck in his belt. And he was pissed off at me because I had just interrupted everything in the club.
Yeah, everything
and
was happening.
And he pulled out his fucking Bowie knife and says, pointed to the door and showed me his knife. Now, if I had continued on that way I felt from the band, but when he distracted me, it took that shit away from me. He distracted me away from that, and I kept thinking, this little short motherfucker, I could just grind him into the floor. He don't know me. Because you understand, my name is Big Black.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm known to kick some asses.
Right.
You understand? But I ain't never kicked no ass. People just thought I did.
Right.
So I left the club, okay? About a week or two later, I'm working at the 5 spot with Randy Weston, right? And doing intermission, there's a place right across the street from the 5 spot, an open lot with a fence around, and we go lean up against that fence and smoke a cigarette, you know what I'm saying? So I'm standing there smoking, and all of a sudden, who walks up but Eric Dolphy?
Oh, man. When
I saw him coming, man, my heart started beating fast again. But
like,
this time I'm thinking, oh man, I done fucked this cat music. I know he's gonna be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? So when he got close to me, he says, Black, and he had his hand out like this.
Wow.
He said, man, how you doing?
He just let it go.
We shook hands, and he said, man, look here, I want to apologize for the other night. Now, I should be apologizing to him.
Yeah, and he apologized
But he
to you.
apologized to me. He said, man, what was that you call my music? And I said, organized disorder. He said, man, that's exactly what that shit was.
Wow.
Just like that.
Wow.
He says, that's what New York does to you.
Wow.
He said, New York screws your mind up, man.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said, I'm leaving New York, man. I'm going to Europe. And I ain't never coming back to this motherfucker. Just like that. You understand? And we stood there at that fence and we talked. We shook hands. I went back into my gig. And the next thing I know, he had left for Europe. And the next thing I heard, he had a diabetic attack. Somebody gave him a glass of orange juice and it killed him. He died in Europe, never came back. All right? About 6 months later, I moved from New York to LA. Yeah. Right? 1968. I'm in LA. I knew this cat that he did an album called what was it? Something Malusa?
I'm not sure I know that one.
Anyway, there was a drummer named Juno. And Juno was on this album with him. You dig it? Now, Trane was looking in New York for me because last he'd heard of me, I was in New York. You understand? And he was getting ready to come to the West Coast for a gig, and he wanted to offer me the gig to come to the West Coast with him. But somehow they told him, says, I think Black is in LA.
Okay.
So when you get there, just
look him up. Yeah.
Just ask Juno. Juno will know where Black is.
Yeah,
but me and Juno was tight. Juno was a conga drummer too. So when he got in town, he found Juno, and Juno called me up, said, "Hey, Black, Trane is in town, man. He's doing a concert, and he wants you and me on it. I said, great, because I had never played with him before.
Yeah.
Never. And I went on, and there was this club called the Kabuki Club.
Okay.
You dig?
Wow, wow.
And that's where Trane was appearing.
Oh, wow.
You dig? And I went there, but Trane was dying.
And he knew he was dying.
Yes, they had already diagnosed him with, I think he had liver cancer. And he was dying, and he was walking around sweating. He had the Bible in his hand. I'll never forget it, man. And he had 2 conga drummers, 2 tenors. He had himself and Pharoah Sanders. He had Elvin Jones and what's the other drummer's name?
Rashid Ali?
No, not Rashid Ali. The other one. I forgot his name because I think he was placed in the Savannah Hall of Fame the same time as me because he was from Savannah. I'll think of his name in a minute. Anyway, he had 2 drummers, 2 bass. Wow. His regular bass player and Raphael Garrett. Remember Raphael Garrett?
Oh, no, I don't know.
Well, Raphael Garrett was a bad cat.
Gotta check him out.
Raphael Garrett and Jimmy Garrison on bass. And McCoy was the only one on piano. So he had 2 congas, 2 bass, 2 drummers, 2 tenors. And McCoy on piano. That was the band, and I swear I wish we had a recording of that.
I know.
And what a night that was.
Wow.
And that was the one and only time that I ever played with John Coltrane. But while people are standing in line to get into the club, and I'm outside because a couple of my buddies came along and they, you know what I'm saying, I pulled them out of the line, let them go in with me. And a limousine pulled up outside. And getting out of the car was Eric Dolphy's parents. And they had all of Eric's horns. And they went into the club and presented Trane with all of Eric's horns.
Wow.
Because Eric had just died a few months earlier.
That's so
and
powerful.
2 months later, Trane died.
Trane was gone.
That's right.
Wow. That's wild, man.
Yeah, man. True story.
Man.
All the great cats, man. And then the drug killed them. The drug.
Yeah,
It was the drug. It was the drug that killed Trane. You know what I'm saying? Miles.
Yeah, Miles, man.
I remember when Miles did a concert. Miles was at the Hollywood Bowl, and I got a buddy, an actor friend of mine. We did a film together, The Blue Knights, with William Holden. We did the pilot for that series, and I spoke to him the other night. He's 93 years old now. Lee Weaver.
I think Yusef Lateef wrote a song for him.
Probably right.
Back in the
probably
day.
Right. Lee Weaver was my buddy.
Wow.
And we did the Blue Night together, and what's the story I want to bring up about that? Oh yeah, my buddy. See the skin on this drum? My buddy Khalid. This is the last skin that I bought from him.
Oh wow.
For my drum. Well, he gave it to me because he had take some of my skins and use it on his drum. And he gave me this skin for this drum. He died. Prostate cancer took him out about 15 years ago. Anyway, Lee Weaver, I met Lee Weaver. We used to all hang out at his crib, you know. He had an African store, sold all kind of beautiful stuff.
Like down in Lamert?
Yeah, in Inglewood.
Okay, cool.
He was in Inglewood. And Lee Weaver was there. And Lee Weaver says, "Hey, Black, Miles is in town. You want to go to the concert? Hollywood Bowl." That was a Friday night. So he says, "Well, man, I'm going." I said, "Well, just tell me how it went down." So he went. Miles got up and played, and the concert was a success as usual. But after the concert was over, Lee went backstage because he knew Miles. You know, I knew Miles. Lee knew Miles. I knew Miles personally. I used to go to his sessions and sit and watch, you know, and play and stuff like that. Went to a lot of his concerts. Used to have on the Wharf in New York. And he had the greatest rock and roll band you ever heard in your life.
Miles
there
did?
was, yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
There was never a rock band like that, boy. Never. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to buy all the recordings that he did of that band. I'm going to get it soon online. Anyway, the next time I saw Lee Weaver a couple of days later, and I said, man, how was the concert? He says, man, the concert was great. He said, but Miles wasn't feeling too good. I said, what happened? He said, well, Miles told me that he just wasn't feeling right. He wasn't himself. You know what I'm saying? This was a Friday night was the concert. I saw Lee Weaver that Saturday. You understand? And he was telling me this story about Miles. In the meantime, what Lee didn't know was Miles got sick that same night after the concert and was rushed to the hospital in Santa Monica, that big hospital in Santa Monica.
That's where I was born, actually.
He died in that hospital.
Wow.
Miles died. He died that Sunday or Monday he died. And that was the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miles.
No, his health was really bad.
I know some great stories about that cat.
I'm sure.
Some stories that I ain't gonna even mention, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say this is the radio, so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I had a buddy named Rudy Assertion. He was from the Philippines. Assertion, is that a Filipino name? Assertion.
Ascension?
Assertion.
Assertion?
Rudy Assertion.
More on the
Good buddy.
Hispanic side.
Good buddy. Me, Rudy, and Carlos, we hung out. And Rudy used to take blow
Oh, okay.
to Miles
Oh, wow.
by the ounce from out here. You get it out here and go to fly to New York with it.
Oh, my
He and his
God.
old lady, they would party with Miles, and he'd come back, and he wound up getting busted. And I remember taking him to the penitentiary out here. There's a federal pen down there in this area. Rudy went there. He did 2 years for taking blow to Miles Davis. And I took him there, dropped him off there, and picked him up there.
Wow.
And he went back to San Francisco and started my business doing balancing air conditionings and stuff. Made a lot of money. And I believe he went back to the Philippines, never saw him again. He and his old lady, Ruthie, broke up. Ruthie went to Seattle to live, never saw her again. And I believe Rudy went back. I've always said to Carlos, wonder where's Rudy? We think about him every day, you know, because he was a good buddy. And he's probably back in the Philippines living right now. Old man. You're all about the same age.
Is it true you played with Monk at some point?
No, Monk has never had a Congo drummer play with him, but I played with his son.
Oh, okay.
And his son used to feature me on all his father's music.
Oh, wow.
And I played the shit out of Monk's music.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Monk's music. Oh, man, Monk's music is, every turnaround is challenging.
I know.
And that's what I like about playing. I like something that challenged my ability. And we played, there was a place called the club, the bakery.
In LA?
Yeah.
The
in
Jazz
LA.
Bakery.
Jazz Bakery.
Yeah, that's where we played. Still doing some stuff.
Yeah, that's where we played, Monk Jr.
Oh,
Let
wow.
me tell you a story about Monk Jr. Now, Monk Jr.'s father and his mother, Nellie, was my buddy.
Oh, okay.
More so than his father.
Oh, wow.
You dig it?
Oh, wow.
Nellie, Monk's wife. When Monk passed away, now, all over the world that I've traveled, people used to mistake me for Monk. I used to wear the hat.
Yeah.
The hat, they'd come down and turn up in the back, the long beard. My beard would grow right down to this, you know, and I was jet black like him. And everybody would come up to me and say, Mr. Monk, with autograph for me to sign. I would say, oh, no, you got me mixed up. Monk is my big brother. This is what I would say. You'll just get him off me. So Monk died. I think it was 1967 or something, 67, something around the 60s, Monk died. Monk passed away, right? And when Monk passed away, I decided I'd go over to the house and pay my condolences to Nellie. Now, when you walk into the house, you walk into the living room, and there's a hallway that leads down to their bedroom. And in the bedroom, either Monk and Nellie would be in bed, and they would greet their guests the guest would sit at a chair at the foot of the bed, right? Or when there's no guest, if Nelly is in bed, Monk would be sitting in that chair.
Oh, okay.
Talking to his wife. You know, we get tired of laying down.
Right.
He'd sit in that chair at the foot of the bed. So on this particular day, when I went to, after Monk's body is lying in state,
right,
and at the funeral parlor, and Nelly is in bed, and I'm sitting in the chair that Monk used to sit in to talk to me. And Monk Jr. came into the house. Time he came to the house, he knew his mother's in bed. He looked down that hall, and what you could see is not my complete face, but
your profile kind
profile,
of.
like a yeah.
Oh my God.
He damn near wetting his clothes,
yeah.
man. Scared the living you know what out of him, man. I'll never forget that, and he will never forget it. He thought I was his father.
Back from the dead.
That's right, back from the dead. True story, man.
Oh my God.
The next time I saw Nelly was at they did the drum festival that was sponsored by the Monk Institute in Washington, D.C. And we were all there. There was Democrats was in power then. Who was the president?
Was that Clinton, or was that?
Who was vice president to Clinton?
Gore.
Gore. Gore's wife. I got pictures
Tipper
with Gore's
Gore.
wife, and the old lady who was Secretary of State.
Albright.
It's Albright. I got pictures with her, and my son, and a couple other people. What's the name? Brother-in-law. We were all in a big picture together. We were all there for that festival. I was the chief judge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the kid that won the $20,000, and another a little 10-year-old kid won the $5,000 because he was a bad little conga drummer. Both were Puerto Ricans.
Cool.
Yeah, that year we went there, and that was a great concert. Yes, it was supported by the Monk Institute. I was chief judge.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, I saw that back in the 60s you played on a recording date with Milford Graves on Miriam Makeba's record. No?
Miriam Makeba. Oh, on a Miriam Makeba's record? I might have.
But you don't remember
I don't remember
much
which
about
one, because I did some early stuff with Miriam Makeba for Belafonte. Belafonte was the producer.
Right, right.
And this was back in 57.
60s, right? Oh, 50s, wow.
Yeah, 50s.
Wow.
So Milford might have been on it, but me and Milford was part of the African club, but
the African bag?
No, not the African bag, the African Room. That was owned by Joe Green and his partner.
Right, right.
With Lester and Chief Bay. And,
Milford was part of that scene.
Milford was a part of that group.
Oh, okay.
Milford was playing conga drums there. He hadn't even started playing trap drums yet.
Oh, wow.
It was Milford Gray. It was me, Milford, Richie Havens, Chief Bay, who was a great badass drummer boy, Chief Bay, and Lester Wilson.
Wow.
And there was Barbara Alston, who was a dancer, beautiful black chick, and Marguerite, who was a beautiful little dancer. And Lester had two girls dancing with him. It was Lester and two girls, Barbara and Marguerite, and we were all the drummers behind them.
Wow.
Me. And Richie Haven would come out and do his act with his guitar.
Right, right.
And I would play some drums behind him.
Oh, okay.
But that was the show.
Wow, man.
For the tourists, man. Yeah, man.
And they didn't even know they were seeing a room full of legends.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
That's wild.
Yeah, man.
Is it true that you played with Sun Ra?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah,
wow.
That was my man.
Wow.
And I'll never forget the night he took me over to his house and put some earphones on me and turn out the light and put a mat on the floor for me to sleep on.
Yeah.
And put the earphones on me and said, just listen. Boy, I had some of the most outrageous nightmares I've ever had in my life. I'll never forget that day. It was horrifying, but beautiful. You might call it beautiful horror.
Right.
Yeah, but I love Sun Ra. Yeah, because he was connected with people like John Cage and
Oh wow.
and this guy that from Harrison House over in Joshua Tree that's owned by Eva Soltis. She bought it from them when he died. He built this house out of straw, and it's got the greatest sound. You go in there, man. Oh man,
wow.
Harrison. You got to visit the Harrison House.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up Eva Soltis.
I think I've heard about that.
And you go over there, you might be able to get a great interview out of her. Oh yeah, because she's got a lot to talk about. How her connection with Harris, the cat that built the house that she owns now, and she's nonprofit, and she do all kinds of weird things. And I did a lot of gigs for her.
Oh, cool, man.
She got tons of pictures and shit with me.
Wow.
If you need pictures of me, just call her.
Oh, cool.
Tell her, ask her, you got any pictures of Black? She got tons of them. I've been knowing her for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
We've been buddies.
Amazing.
She did my ethnic fusion album cover.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
man, I love that album.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a beautiful record.
Oh, you got that record, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an amazing one. You mentioned Henry Franklin before.
Henry Franklin, we was in Master Killer's band together.
Oh.
And he and I also played with Randy Weston together at the club. What was that? What's that island out there called?
Oh, Catalina.
At Catalina's Club.
Jazz Club. Yeah.
Me and Henry did a gig with Randy there.
Did that get
once
recorded?
together. I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, man.
But me and Henry have done some recordings together. Well, me and Henry have done a lot of things together, man. It was all great. And I did some stuff with Larry Vukovich. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
That's my man.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
wow.
man, let me tell you about Larry Vukovich. You remember I told you about that room in New York where I obsessed that chick?
Yeah.
About 3-4 years ago, we went to the wine country up just above San Francisco there.
Oh, Sonoma.
Sonoma.
Yeah.
We did a gig up there in the Blue Note Club. They got a
There's
Blue Note Club
up
up.
there?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Sonoma. It's not. What is it called? The one closest to San Francisco.
I don't know up there too well. Actually.
Anyway,
yeah.
it was in the wine country, and they got a club up there called the Blue Note, and they got a jazz society up there, and this jazz society got a lot of members, and they sponsored this concert, and the place was packed. We had a quintet. Me, Vukovich. I forgot who was on drums. An Oriental dude, a Chinese cat was on drums. Bad motherfucker could play, and a tenor player, and it was what's the name? What's the bass player that died of cancer up there? Great bass player. Jeff Chamberlain.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Jeff, man, great bass player.
Oh, wow.
Cancer took him out.
Oh, man.
Oh man, we loved him. He was our bass player. Last gig we did together was at Bach Dance Society in Half Moon Bay. Yeah, it used to be owned by Pete. What was Pete's last name? He was an Irish dude, and his daughter runs it now. Bach Dynamite and Dance Society. Look it up. Yeah, and we killed him over there. But at this Blue Note Club, we were playing, and I took a solo. I was playing just this one drum.
Oh, okay.
And man, I did a solo, and all of a sudden, there's a commotion in the audience, and this woman went out.
Oh, no.
She totally got it.
Again.
Hey, man, they run out there with the smelling salts.
Yeah.
And finally woke her up. And when she got through, when they woke her up, she ran up on the stage and grabbed me.
Oh, my God.
And just held me and trembled and says,
Whoa.
I have never in my life experienced the drums this way.
Whoa.
She didn't even know that she had passed out. And
Like she woke up and didn't even know she was.
that's right.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, wow.
Right.
This is how I'm thinking. You know how men think. Chick run over and grab you and shaking and trembling, and her husband was right there. And he didn't say shit. He was happy, man. But
He was
man,
just happy she was okay.
oh, man. But she was totally out.
That's wild.
Out. That was my second possessive
Wow.
in my life.
Wow.
And it rarely happens.
The drum, man.
You got to be listening, and you got to be, just like what Eric Dolphy's music did to me.
Right.
You understand? It changes your personality, puts you in another frame of mind, make it take you completely away from reality. That's what it does, completely, beyond reality.
It's so wild. Yeah. Well, you did say earlier that Max Roach hates you, and I gotta ask you why.
All right. I'm in Miami, Florida. Okay. Time come to get out of Miami and go to New York and see what New York has to offer for what I have to give. So I had one of these home tape recorders, right? And I taped about a half hour of my drumming with my 3 drums.
Okay.
You dig it? Put that in my suitcase, went to New York, ran into this shyster named Jimmy Davis, who wound up robbing me. You understand? And I'm getting money right now from BMI that I never got when he was alive. He was taking all of my money. When he died, I started getting my money. After he died, okay? And I'm not getting a lot. Most of the money that I made off my records went to him. But, so I'm in New York, and Max Roach had a group called Boom, all percussion group.
I like that
They used to tour all over the world.
Yeah.
Europe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a member of Boom.
Okay.
Because I'd heard about it. But my first thing I wanted to do was, my ultimate dream was to play with Dizzy. But Boom would do for the time being, since it was all percussion group and I'm a percussionist.
Yeah.
So Jimmy says, man, give me your tape. I know where Max live. I'll take it over to Max. One thing he was resourceful about what he wanted to do.
Then he could make it happen.
Yeah, he could make it happen.
Yeah.
So he took my tape, went over to Max's house, and he ran this game down to Max about Big Black. You understand? Big Black is a great drummer, and he's always loved your music, and he wants to be a part of your Boom organization, you know what I'm saying? So Max says, yeah, well, if he can handle it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He said, let me hear the tape. So they sat down in Jimmy's house, in Max's house.
Yeah.
Max pop up with a couple of brews, you know, and they're sitting down on these low chairs, you know, and they're drinking beer, and they put the tape in Max's tape machine, and they sat there and they listened. They listened, and they listened. And the tape was about 20 minutes long, you know what I'm saying? When the tape was over, Max said, yeah, this Big Black, he's a bad motherfucker.
All right.
Just like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Says, how many cats are on there with him, man? Jimmy says, how many cats? That's just Black.
That's Big Black, yeah.
Man, Max's personality changed. He kicked Jimmy out of his house, threw the tape at Jimmy, and tell him, nigga, don't ever come back to my house with that bullshit.
What?
I know 3 or 4 drummers when I can hear it.
And that was it?
And from that day on, he hated me.
What?
Everywhere I went, he tried to discredit me.
What?
I finally meet Dizzy Gillespie. I'm playing at the African Room with those same cats, Milford Grave and all of them.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, Dizzy is playing at Birdland. I go to Birdland. Now, before I left Miami, Blue Mitchell, who's a great trumpet player, told me, because Blue Mitchell's from Florida. I knew Blue. Blue said, if you go to New York, you see Dizzy, just tell him Blue sent you, and Dizzy will give you a gig.
Okay.
Right? So, cool.
Yeah.
So I go down to hear him play, and when I get there, 52nd Street, you walk up the street, and then you walk down some steps to one level, and there's the box office. You buy your ticket, then you and you're in the club. Same as like when Eric Dolphy was playing there.
Right, right.
But
yeah,
this was
yeah.
before the Eric Dolphy thing.
Right, right.
So when I walked down to the ticket booth, lucky for me, Dizzy was standing right there.
Oh, okay.
By the ticket booth talking to another cat, right? So I didn't say nothing. I just went up and bought my ticket, and I just stood back to wait for him to finish talking to the cat so I could make my approach on him. So when he got through talking with the cat disappeared into the club, and just as he was about to go, I said, "Mr. Gillespie," and he turned around and looked at me, and I says, "My name is Big Black. I'm a friend of Blue Mitchell." And Blue says, "If I ever meet you," and he looked at my hand before I could finish saying about Blue. He looked at my hand like I was stupid and turned around and left me standing there. I felt like an asshole.
Wow.
I felt like a complete fool.
Wow.
He didn't even acknowledge me, man.
Damn.
You hear what I'm saying? All right. About a year goes by. We had just got through doing that Night of the Cookers album.
Right.
With Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And me and my buddy, Black Harold, who did Message to Our Ancestors. You got that record?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
That album, we had just got through doing that record. It wasn't out yet, but we had just got through playing it on our buddy who had a recording studio in his house, which was O'Brien, who later died in a plane crash. Yeah, he used to fly business people between here and South America and places like that. And his plane, he was coming back and his plane went down in the Gulf and he was never found again.
Wow.
My buddy, boy, he was my best buddy.
Man.
And I remember the last time I saw him, man, he had promised me a steak dinner and he never got it. So he came by and knocked on the door where I was staying one day and said, "Here, man, here's your steak. I'm sorry I can't give you dinner, but cook it yourself." That was him, you know. Anyway, that was a delicious piece of steak he gave me. So, where were we?
You were saying about Dizzy.
Yeah. So this is right after I did that album.
Night of the Cookers.
Me and Harold was going to do this. The Night of the Cookers was done at a club called the La Michelle in Brooklyn. So me and Harold had it booked for us to do a gig there after that concert, because that concert was done by an all-women's social club. Freddie Hubbard's wife was the head of that social club. He was married to a beautiful black sister, had a son by her. And that was their gig. And that concert came out of their gig.
Oh, wow.
All these bad motherfuckers. And I was the youngest cat on the block in that group. And maybe I wasn't the youngest, but I was the newest. So me and Harold had booked it for the following week to do a gig, or the following month to do, because they were booked up. They bring different groups in. So I had some flyers printed up with my name, Big Black Harold. You understand? Concert. Flute and drums and bass, just the three of us. So Paul Robeson had just returned from Russia, and he was ill. And they were doing a fundraiser for him at the Americana Hotel in Manhattan.
Right.
And Randy Weston, whom I was playing with at the time, was invited. You see what I'm saying? Actually, I was playing with Freddie Hubbard and Randy Weston, cause with that same band that we did the Night of the Cookers with, we closed Birdland. We played the final night in Birdland on 52nd Street. The next day, Birdland became a wash house.
Wow.
There's no lie. The famous Birdland Club.
Yeah.
So I'm in the lobby of the hotel with my flyers. I figure all these people coming, I'm gonna pass out some flyers for our gig. So Randy could not make it. Randy was supposed to perform that night. You dig it? I was gonna play with him if he had come. But he had His arms had swollen up again.
Wow.
Second time his arms had ever swollen up since I've been playing, and he couldn't make it. So he said, man, I want you to go down there and represent me. If they call me, just go up and, give my apologies and let them know that I'm sick and I can't make it. So I said, okay. But they never did call him. You understand? But I was there passing out my flyers for my gig.
Yeah.
You understand? In the lobby. Who walks up? But Dizzy Gillespie. He snatched my fly out of my hand like that. And he looked at it and he says, Big Black, I heard about you. As if he wasn't the same cat that I had met months later, months earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard about you. You want to play with me?
Just
See
like
how
that.
shit happens, man?
Just like that.
My ultimate dream's coming true right now in front of me.
Yeah.
This is a childhood dream.
Man.
From the time I started playing drums.
Yeah.
I said, you're damn right I want to play with you. He says, come to the village gate on Monday night. This Monday night.
No rehearsal, just come to the gig.
Just come, bring your drum, come to the gig. I says, okay, I'll be there. And then those big old curtains that they got in the hall.
Yeah.
He said, come here. He went and grabbed that curtain and pulled it around us like that, and pulled out one of those cans that you put film in. He had it full of pure Peruvian pink blow. And he shoveled 2 big scoops up my nose.
Oh my God.
Man, that was probably the second time in my life that I'd ever snorted any cocaine.
Right.
And I was bugged up.
Oh my God.
And I was on cloud 19 because now I'm going to play with Dizzy.
Right.
And I went down there on Monday night and he had Bernard Purdy on drums.
Oh.
Mr. Funk himself.
Man.
And he had this bad Latin dude on piano, and I forgot who he had on bass. You understand?
Yeah.
And he was on trumpet, and we killed him.
Oh man.
And from that night
small
on,
combo.
I became Dizzy Gillespie. He referred to me as my new discovery. He never once mentioned that night when I first tried to meet him, you know what I'm saying? And he looked at me like I was
about that.
Never said a word.
Wow.
I wound up going to Cuba with him.
Wow.
You understand? You can get that video.
Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah.
With that great Cuban trumpet
Arturo
player.
Sandoval.
He's a Dizzy. He loved Dizzy Gillespie, man.
Right.
And he kissed Castro's ass until he got out of there. He was a pure ass kisser.
Yeah.
He loved Castro and we was there.
Right.
Oh yeah. And Castro gave Dizzy, man. When we was leaving, we did a big concert there. You dig it? And the whole film was about the concert we did. Right. And Dizzy meeting with Castro and all of those things. And Castro gave Dizzy about maybe 30 or 40 boxes of those $75 a piece cigars.
Oh my God.
The best Havana cigars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he said to Dizzy, give some of your band members some of these.
Yeah.
You dig it? So Dizzy came and gave us all a box of cigars. I think he gave me 2 boxes of cigars. And he gave all the rest of the cats a box of cigars. And one of the cameramen in the group, Dizzy gave him a box of cigars, right?
Uh-huh.
So now we left Cuba, we got into Miami, and we're coming through walking out of the airport down this big aisle, and Dizzy got one of those carriers, those rolling things that you carry.
Full of cigars.
Cigars and his horns on the top.
Yeah.
About 20-some boxes of cigars he got. and the little cameraman that he gave the box of cigars to come walking by with his box in his hand. And Dizzy said, hey man, come here. And he took the cigar, box of cigar from the cat, strapped it on his stroller, and walked out. And if you could see this cat, that bewildered look on this cat's face, and you should have seen the bewildered look on my face as I'm looking at him taking that box.
Adding it back to his 20 boxes.
Dizzy was the stingiest cat. Man, every time I did a gig with Dizzy, I had to go to his wife to get my money. He never once paid me.
It hurt him to give out the money.
Hey man, legals, they cheap. Cheap. He was very, very cheap. Wow. What's your birthday?
Me? January 1st.
January 1st? You Aquarius?
Capricorn.
Capricorn. All right, Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, Max was a Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hope I haven't been giving anybody that treatment.
One night we were at the Coronet Club. And Max, all the cats in the Coronet Club knew me because I used to go there with Randy Weston and they loved me. And Max is playing in there and I walked in with this drum.
Oh, wow.
You dig it?
Yeah.
The cat started screaming, Max, bring Black up. Let Black play.
Oh, man.
And he hated me.
Yeah.
So he couldn't, them crazy cats in Brooklyn, he had to let me play. So he invited me up, but you know what he'd do? He'd drop a 5/4 on me that I had never played before in my life.
Yeah.
And he confused me.
Oh,
for 90% of the tune.
Really?
I was totally confused. But in that last 10% of that tune, I copped that shit and I dropped it on him and brought the house down again. And Max was mad again, man. And dig this, man. So after I was doing every Monday night with Dizzy, this particular Monday night, like I said, me and Bernard Purdy turned the house out because he was playing the funk and I was playing the bebop.
Yeah.
You understand?
Oh,
that's where the bebop funk worked, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the following Monday night, I'm playing. We played, and during the break, we goes into the dressing room. Who walks in but Max Roach? Now Max Roach had 2 kids. His son was gay and his daughter was gay.
His daughter Maxine, right?
Yeah, she was a violin player.
I know somebody who used to play with her. Yeah, the Uptown String Quartet.
Yeah,
that was a great group.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And
cool.
and Steve, trombone player, Steve. Steve, what's his last name?
Swell or
Steve. His wife was one of those players in that group. She was a violin player.
Oh, what's the other violinist's name?
I forgot her name.
It's escaping me. Oh no, damn, my friend is gonna hate me. She's famous though. She's amazing. Yeah. She's super talented.
He's a trombone player. Steve, he was from Concord, California. Real light-skinned dude. Looks white, but he's a black dude.
Oh, okay.
You know, very fair skinned.
Yeah,
and she was jet black. And they had a daughter named Andromeda.
Oh wow.
Steve, what was Steve's last name? Steve. He's a great trombonist. Anyway, Max came into the dressing room. First of all, Dizzy introduced me to Max as his new
discovery.
And Max,
I'm sure Max hated that.
Yeah. He just give a little sly grin.
Right.
You understand? But after he and Dizzy got through talking, his son walked up to me and says, "Mr. Black, I just love your playing." Says, "I've heard you several times." Says, "If I was a Congo drummer, I'd like to play just like you." And
sure, Max was losing his mind.
Green. he was a glowing green, and he wanted to strangle his son for saying that to me. Never forget that. And the next time I played with Max, we were at the what's that place where all them dancers that kick their legs up?
Yeah. What is it? The
Great American Music Hall? No.
Yeah. But it's a group that plays there, right?
Yeah.
The Follies or something?
We did a big concert there called the Giants of Jazz.
Uh-huh.
And all the Giants was there, and I wasn't into it long enough to be called a giant.
Right.
But Dizzy invited me to come.
Yeah.
And that was the night that Miles walked in. Miles wasn't a part of it, but Miles told this cat, was it Alpha? No, not Alpha 9. A bass player that used to run all of the concerts in New York then. Jewish cat.
A bass player?
Yeah, he was a bass player. What's his name? Married to a black woman. a Jewish cat married to a black woman, and he was the kingpin. He ran everything. You couldn't get a gig if you didn't know something about him.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, he didn't like me. And he was a good friend of Larry Ridley.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Who didn't like me because of the night of the Cookers thing.
Right.
You dig it? Yeah. Although Larry Ridley wasn't there that night. And he didn't like Miles because Miles told him, says, the only way I'll play for you, man, is if you give every one of these musicians $5,000 apiece.
Nice.
And he wasn't about to do that. You understand? And so you give everybody $5,000 apiece and I'll play for you. That's what he told him. And we did that album was recorded, and Max Roach, I was given a solo, and when I started playing my solo, Max Roach jumped in on my solo, played some out shit, fucked the whole solo up. Mary Lou Williams was on piano.
Oh, I heard that recording, yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Did you hear the fuck up in it? If you got that recording, listen to it.
Yeah.
Max Roach screwed me up.
Yeah.
I mean, just totally.
No, he comes in with sticks.
With some other shit.
Yeah.
And he pissed Mary Lou. Everybody was pissed off at him. He screwed up the whole fucking day with that shit. Yeah, Max Roach. He was a dirty cat, man. He hated me, man. He couldn't stand me. And the boy got to the point when he walked in the room, I'd go, boom, 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 and then I'd build a whole solo off of him. And then I'd end it that way for him and just mess with his mind. He hated me, man. Till the day he died, man. He went to the old folks, died in the old folks' home. Yeah, man. Or what do you call it? Not the old folks' home, but the nursing home.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think he was about 80. In his 80s.
He was in his 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you about Mary Lou Williams, though.
Oh, she was great. Man, I was in love with that woman, and she was like, she could have been my grandmother. She looked so young and beautiful.
Yeah.
She was a beautiful woman. She loved my playing. You understand? I never got to play with her, one-on-one. But at that particular concert that night, I got to play with her. And I expressed to her that night what a beautiful lady she was and how much I enjoyed playing with her.
Good.
And she enjoyed playing with me, and she was very pissed off at Max Roach for screwing that shit up. Yeah, man. A lot of them didn't. And boy, look here, Charlie Mingus.
Yeah.
Oh man, me and Charlie Mingus had it one time because, and Mingus says anybody that play with Diz can play with me. You understand? After he learned that I played with Dizzy, he loved me. And I remember he was playing at the Jazz Workshop in San Francisco. I was living in San Francisco, and I had this very white German chick named Frederica Fleming. We used to get in her car. We used to go to Monterey Festival. Anything that was happening around music together. That's all. We were just tight buddies. You know what I'm saying? So Mingus, one of my favorite people. I love Mingus. I'd heard him abuse people on the stage, but that didn't bother me until he tried to abuse me. So we went to see him, and we sitting in the Jazz Workshop, and they had 3 rows of chairs right in front of the bandstand, and behind that was tables and chairs for people. And me and Freddie were sitting right in front of Mingus. There he is up there on the stage, here we are sitting down there. And he started talking on the mic. He played a tune, and he got to playing the tune, and he looked down at me and decided to make me the subject of his his commentary. And he started talking, about himself, and he says, well, you know me, I'm one of those yellow niggas. You understand what I'm saying? This is how you talk. I'm one of those yellow niggas. But there's another nigga sitting down there that calls himself Big Black. And look what he's sitting next to. I'm sitting next to that. And then Frederick was a fine broad, boy. Tall, very fair. She was just as white as I am black. You understand what I'm saying? And he proceeded to downgrade us. And I came back at him, and I dropped some shit on him that made him fucking cry. And somebody from the newspaper was in there copying all that shit. That shit was in the newspaper. If you could get a copy of that shit, I don't remember what went down verbally with us, but I know I destroyed him. And afterwards, you know what he did? He invited me to go next door to the Japanese joint to have some sake, and he cried on my shoulder talking about all of his wives he had and how he wasn't happy with this and he wasn't happy with that. And
he was married to a white woman too at some point, wasn't he?
Twice.
Yeah.
Several.
So
and that was he finally wound up saying, anybody that played with Dizzy is a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we just forgot about what went down in the club, and he was my buddy ever since then. Never saw him again till he died.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Oh, wow.
But I had an encounter with cats like that, you know what I'm saying? And the name Big Black was sort of a name that made me understand who the person I'm talking to was,
it's
how
like
they react to that name. Right.
Yeah.
Because how I got the name Big Black, remember I told you when Don Sala had the club in Nassau, Bahamas? And he sent for me when I met my wife. I went over, and I was over there after I'd gotten married. I'd been there for about 5 years. And my brother and his partner came in there one night, and we were doing the same show. And they sat at the bar, and in those days, you know, the favorite drink was Pernod. On the black light, Pernod lights up in the glass.
Oh, okay.
You dig it? Pernod turn, you know?
Yeah.
And you drink that, and you look like you're drinking some weird shit.
Right.
And it was weird because it made you high, man. You know?
Oh, wow.
You smoke a joint and drinking some Pernod, boy, that was one of the greatest high there was. And that's what everybody was doing. So my brother and his partner, Fish and Slick, they were called. They came into the club, and they were sitting right there at the corner of the bar, because the bar was a circular bar.
Right.
In the center of the club, and then there was a square bandstand, and I was playing here, and they were sitting right there, right? And I did a solo, and Billy Cook was the band leader. He was a trumpet player out of Jamaica that everybody used to relate to him as the Jamaican Dizzy Gillespie.
Oh, okay.
You dig it? And he looks a little like Dizzy, and he played the trumpet, and he was a great trumpet player. Jamaica had all the best musicians then. All of the really great musicians that was playing in the Bahamas, and those Bahamas had the worst musicians. So they would import cats from Jamaica to play in the Bahamas.
Right.
So we had a badass group, man. I remember, what's that cat name that used to arrange for Ella Fitzgerald? Nelson?
Oh, Nelson Riddle?
Nelson Riddle. Nelson Riddle, he loved us, man. He used to come to Bahamas.
Oh, wow.
Nelson Riddle would sit down there and go crazy listening to us, man. The shit we was playing. And so I did this solo, and when I got through doing this solo, I watched my brother and Fish damn near fall off their stools, drinking that Pernod and listening to me. And afterwards, it was over, taking a break. I went down, and they grabbed me and hugged me and shook my hand. And my brother looked up at me and says, "You big, black, bad motherfucker, you." and
that's where the name...
From that night on, my name was Big Black.
Wow.
That's right. And outside on the board outside, they never did put Big Black. It was always Danny Ray. Because the Bahamian was kind of weird. If I had put up Big Black,
that was too much for them.
That would have been too much for them.
Yeah, for sure. They weren't that militant yet.
You're right.
Well, I just got maybe two more I want to ask you, because I know we've already been here for a while.
Hey, man, you can be as long as you like. Man, it's beautiful. I'm enjoying the sun.
Beautiful, man. Did you ever play with Ernest Ranglin?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Ernest Ranglin?
The
that was my
player?
buddy.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
man. Sure. Yeah, man. Ernest, where did I play with Ernest at? Where did I play with?
Because he's Jamaican, right?
I think Ernest played with us at some point during the time I was playing at the Jean Canoe Club in Nassau. He came down and played with Billy Cook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Ernest. Ernest was my buddy.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah, man. Ernest was a real nice cat, man. He's gone now, too, isn't he?
I don't know if he is.
He might still be
I
around,
think he's
man.
still around. Yeah, I didn't hear about him passing.
Yeah.
He's probably, what, about your age or so?
No, man, he's older than me.
He's older?
Much.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, Ernest would be at least in his 90s now.
Oh, okay.
High 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
if he's alive, yeah.
But I didn't hear about him passing. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
He's great, man. He was great. He was a badass player. Oh, I loved him. I loved Ernest Ranglin.
And I mean, the stuff he was doing in the 50s was so
He was the
ahead
one
of
that
his
started
time.
out Bob Marley and all them cats.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was kind of the secret king of the Jamaican music scene.
That's right. And when Bob Marley died, I was in Paris, France, and we did a big memorial for him. Yeah, man.
What about Blakey? You ever?
Art Blakey? Yeah, man. I played with Blakey. We did something on a rooftop in a building.
Oh, wow.
Me, Blakey, and Oscar Brown Jr.
Oh, wow.
I played on the roof of this building, just me and him. And he had a little boy who's a grown man now, about this old. He was about 3 years old.
God.
We was in the park playing the bongos. And a Frenchman did a film, similar to a video type film, of me and Blakey and Oscar Brown Jr. sitting talking. And it ended where me and Art Blakey was playing on the roof of this apartment building in New York. But I have never did any concerts of any type with Art Blakey, like Freddie Hubbard and all those cats was a part of his band. I was never a part of his band. But he always wanted to play with me because he wanted to challenge me for some reason, you know? But I fucked him up on that roof that night. He'll never forget it. I gave him enough to know that we would have gelled beautifully together. Yeah, but I love Art Blakey, man. He's the master. All of the baddest cats out there, nobody swung like Art Blakey. Nobody. And you know something? Art Blakey was like me. He was an unorthodox drummer. He didn't even know how to do a single stroke roll. If he did it, it was a press roll. You understand? And he did doubles, and he had to press the doubles. You understand? And he played. He played like that. He had no real technique. His technique was no technique.
Wow, man.
He just played whatever he felt, and he had that awesome power because he's a loud drummer. I mean, he kicked holes in the drum, boy. Yeah, man, he was great, man. I love Art Blakey. Here's my buddy. I'll tell you a story about Art Blakey. Art Blakey died, I think he was 78 years old when he died. And Art Blakey and my buddy Jim Green were real buddies. Jim Green was his road manager, and Jim Green was a frustrated tenor player. You understand what I'm saying? Frustrated meaning a cat that always wanted to play but never played good enough to get in with the heavies. But, you know, every time he could play, he would play. And he and Art were both heroin addicts. And Jim was always the cat to prepare the drug.
That's how he could kind of keep his foot in the door.
And then he would give himself a hit. And they didn't mainline like most cats, because mainlining is the bad way to do heroin.
That's how you really get yourself.
Skin popping was the way they did it.
Oh, okay.
Right into the arm like a regular shot.
Like a vaccine or something,
So he would prepare the drug, put it in the needle, and Art will be playing, you understand? And without anybody knowing what Art is doing, he'd hit himself right through his coat and sweated everything. Bam!
Jesus.
And boom, give it back. Keep right on playing.
Wow.
This is no lie, man.
Wow, man.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw him do it. Wow. And so Art was dying. Now, Art got kids all over the world.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere he went, he left a baby.
Oh, man.
And he was married to this beautiful Canadian chick who was about maybe 30 years his junior. He was about 78 years old when he died. You count 30 years down, she was about
48.
70, 60, 50. She was probably in her 50s when he died. And he got kids, he got grown kids. He had
about the same age as her?
Older than her.
Older than her, yeah, sure.
He had kids in their 50s.
Yeah.
No, he had kids in their 60s. He was in his late 70s.
Oh,
so
wow.
he was like, He was like 10, 50, he was about maybe 20 years older than his kids.
Right.
Because he had a grown son, because I remember he sent his son one night to get my drums. He gorillaed me. He sent his son to gorilla, and cats came into my house, grabbed my drums and was walking out the door with it.
Oh, whoa.
I think that's the only time we played together in a club.
Yeah.
Anyway, he finally succumbed, and he's lying there in the house dying. And his wife knows he's dying, and she's saying to him, Art, please, Art, sign the will. Because she wanted whatever he had to be a will to her, because when he died, that's the end of the money and everything coming in.
Yeah,
He living in this expensive apartment and shit in New York, over there on the east side, right on the other side of where the Blue Note Club was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Expensive, big bucks back in those days.
Yeah.
And she's saying, Art, please, Art, sign the will. Please, Art, will you please sign the will? Shit.
And he knows he's dying too.
Art says, y'all fight over it. And he died.
Oh my God.
Those were his last words to his wife. Y'all fight over it.
Oh my God.
True story, man. Art Blakey. Those were his last words in this life. Y'all fight over it.
Oh my God. Wow.
It's a laugh, man, but it's pathetic, isn't it?
It is.
Oh,
it
man,
is.
that's Art Blakey.
Wow.
But he was something, man. He was something. Y'all fight over it.
Well, I guess that's as good a place to leave it as anywhere. So, Big Black, thank you so much, man.
Okay, man.
This is incredible.
Beautiful, beautiful. Glad you enjoyed it.